Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome to the One Man Low Council and thank you, and it must be said several times tonight, thank you to George Lucas, because for those that have not been following the news recently, it was recently announced in Bob Iger's new book that George Lucas was not happy with the direction of Star Wars and made it very apparent, which is something that all of us can obviously connect with, seeing that we are also still not happy with the current direction of Star Wars. But it got even worse because the fact they took his stories, they bought his stories, and then decided to not use them, which to me just comes across as petty on their part. And also makes me wonder, did they dissect certain aspects of the stories that he sold them and then use those aspects in their stories, and then obviously just totally butchered it because they didn't do everything that he wanted to do or not? I kind of want to get my hands on this book, but obviously I don't want to give Bob Iger any of my money because, you know, Bob Iger is evil. Anyway, how is it going, everybody? We had a few people I was talking with earlier, so how was everyone doing? Legit 36, Ryan Summers, Mark Lazur's here, Don Draper is here as well. Thank you very much for not hating me. Aiden Vickery's here. How is it going? How is it going? John Burkett is here. Nickel Noodles is here as well. How's it going? Stream Elements is running. 16-bit mascot. Robert Frey is here. Venom Broly 1993. Random Nerd of Doom. Tina is here. Welcome to what's going on, Tina? How's it going? Dion's here. Welcome back, Dion. Glad to see you here. Mayor Jeremy's here also. We got G-Monkey76 in the chat. Rain Retribute. What's going on? How is it going? Let me go ahead and get my D-Live chat up and running over here. What is going, D-Live people? Mr. Peabody's got some internet issues. Very sorry to hear that, Mr. Peabody. Hope you are doing okay. Hope you're doing just fine. Captain K-Man, what's going on, Captain K-Man? How is it going? How is it going indeed? Kim Can Park is here. Kim Can Park, it's been so long since I've seen you over on D-Live. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. We got Seth in the chat. What's going on, Seth? We got Luke, not Skywalker. What's going on? Dr. Richard Kimball. What's going on, Dr. Richard Kimball? I don't know why I just did an Obama voice for you. HyperX13, Micah Martinez is here. Blake Hemlow. Alex McCarthy says, hey, Odin, how are ye? 'Twas a fun gifting on Twitter. Oh, it was a very fun gifting on Twitter indeed, good sir. Oh, so much fun at the expense of some really, really creepy, stalkerish people that have been going after Phantom Menace lately, especially Jeremy and now me. Tina, thank you for letting everyone know how to contact me. So again, if you want me to read your comment or you have a question or you want to share your love for George Lucas, all you need to do is put Odin question, all one word, over on the YouTubes, and it'll pop up orange for me, and I'll know that you're trying to get my attention, and so I'll be able to read it. I do fall behind in the chat, so just know that if your comment's not being read, it has been a long time, and you put Odin question, that I'm probably about 20, 30 minutes behind. Because guess what? It happens when you start to read all the chats, and you don't just save, you don't just save out for super chats or donations. You fall behind a little bit, but that's okay. I don't mind falling behind because I like trying to give as much attention as possible. How is it going? How is it going? Someone just says scum. Okay. Hope you're not talking about me, bud. LAR07. How is it going, good sir? HyperDex13. I'm doing fine. How are you doing, my dove? How you doing, my bruv? Mike Martinez says, George Lucas deserved better. Say whatever you want about the prequels, but at least George Lucas has a story from beginning to end. I'm right there with you. I am by no means a prequel defender. Jeremy is. That's what's so funny, where people try and say, oh gosh, these people from the Phantom Menace and Geeks and Gamers, they all follow Jeremy and they all believe exactly what Jeremy does. Jeremy voted for Donald Trump. I did not. Jeremy is a prequel defender. I am not. Those are some pretty big differences already, and I'm sure I could point out so many more. Because the main point is that we agree on important issues, but also we work together, right? We understand that we are collaborating together, and guess what? We like each other. We have fun together. That's what friendships are all based on. If you're having fun with each other, that is what... You don't hang out with someone that's going to bring you down. You don't hang out with someone that is just going to drag you down nonstop, right? Those aren't your friends. Your friends are those that lift you up. Your friends are those that lift you up, have a good time with. And I've been having a damn good time with my friends over on Twitter today because of some of the nonsense going on over there. That's for sure. But yeah, going back to your point, Michael Martinez, I'm not a prequel defender either. But you know what? I agree. At least the prequels are a consistent story with a very clear thread all throughout every single film. Yeah, the dialogue's bad. Yeah, the acting's bad. There's a lot of things to be critical of, and believe me, I will be one of the first ones to point out my criticisms of it. But at the very least, you are right. There is a consistent story, which, guess what? The sequel trilogy does not have. The sequel trilogy might have some better acting overall. And again, I think that's obviously up for debate, right? But overall, we could say, maybe there's some better acting going on. Visual effects, definitely better. I would say, I'm pretty sure all of us can say the visual effects nowadays are much better than they were in the 90s. But of course, that's a difference in time as well, right? But what the sequel trilogy does not have and cannot hold a candle to when it comes to the prequels in general, is a consistent story, because it does not have one. And all of it comes from the fact that George Lucas had 3 stories ready to go. He had a sequel trilogy ready to go. And they said, no, even though you created Star Wars, even though we know you are a creative genius, you can't write dialogue, but you are a creative genius, we're just going to say no. Imagine if they had taken the 3 stories that George Lucas wrote, and they had put a new director in charge, and they had revamped some of the script, and they just had him on as being the story writer. Which I think personally is where George Lucas deserves to be. And I think that's where he would be best served, right? Is as the story writer. Because he knows how to write a story. He knows how to craft a universe. That's where he needs to be. Let someone else write the dialogue, write the screenplay, right? Let someone else even direct. Because I think that his direction of the prequels really show that he doesn't really know how to connect with the actors, face to face and get the best performances out of them. But he can write a damn good story. And the fact that they had scripts from him, stories from him, and they said, nah, you know what? You created this bad boy. You made it successful. You are the one. George Lucas, you are the brainchild. I know, River. I feel the same way. She's upset. I'm upset too. We know that George Lucas, this is Disney talking. We know, George Lucas, we know that you created this awesome universe and, did all these great things and made it the multi-billion-dollar franchise that it is and we bought you for. But we're going to do things on our own. And guess what happens? You get the sequel trilogy. And that's what's going on. So Michael Martinez, thank you for the comment. Jace Doe says, greetings and salutations, Coned style. Greetings and salutations. I got that reference. Tina says, listen to that garbage book on Audible, then return it and tell them you hated it. Hey, that's a good point. Borrow it, return it, and say it was awful. That is definitely one way to do it. Or I can probably wait because it is such a big name. Again, whether we like him or not, obviously that's an opinion. But he is a big name. He is the president and CEO. Like, he is the leader of Disney, right? He is going to get some attention with his book, right? So there's a couple of apps that I use. One is called Scribd, and so I'm sure that it'll eventually either pick up the ebook version or it'll pick up the audiobook version, and those will be free editions. When that happens, I might just have to dive into it. I might have to go back to those days in which I watched the entire first season of Girls so that I could crap on it because it was terrible. And the days when I read the entire Twilight book, the first Twilight book, because I wanted to be able to say, this story sucks. Maybe now I can go back and say, let me go ahead and read and listen to the Bob Iger story and get some of the dirt instead of just these snippets that we've been getting instead. We got Laura Ryan stole my fanfiction story in the chat. What's going on, Laura? Bruce, how's it going, Bruce? Welcome back. Thank you again for sending me another Blu-ray. Shouted you out in a video the other day. Sorry, very sorry indeed there was no video today. So, fun story about me before we dive into anyone else's questions in the chat. So, I had a doctor's appointment at 3:20 right after school today. So, literally, doctor was about 2 minutes away. New patient. I ended up waiting about 2 hours. 2 hours before the doctor actually saw me. So I was sitting in the waiting room, or rather I was sitting in the actual doctor's room for probably about an hour, for the better part of an hour. Then when he gets in there, I'm in there for a good like 30 minutes or so. And it was just a standard checkup, just getting used to it. But he was so nice. It was one of those situations where I was so pissed because I had to wait 2 hours. I didn't get seen until 2 hours after my appointment time. Not just 1 hour, but 2 hours. And he was just so nice and so thorough. And he obviously was not rushing through it. And he even told me after, I've got 2 patients after you. And I'm like, holy crap. It was almost 6 p.m. when I got out of there. And all the nurses, it was closed. The office was closed. It's a small practice. So all the nurses were gone. It was closed. It was just him and apparently 2 patients. I don't know where they were waiting or how that's working when there's no nurses present. But I mean, I guess that's the Chattanooga lifestyle, man. But anyway, so because of that, I didn't get home until like 6:10 or so. So I felt so bad for my dogs. My dogs normally eat at 5. And normally I let them out around like 3:30. And so they bolt towards the door, but what's so funny, they care more about food than they do anything else, because I was like, let's go outside, let's take care of y'all. And they were like, nope, you better feed us right now. So they're having a good time. They're happy to be out. Willow is on her back, being a little goofball, while River is right by me, because that's what River does. She is a daddy's girl. Random Nerd Doom says, Bob Iger isn't evil. Bob Iger is effing Uber Barbara Streisand evil. Drunk 3PO, thank you for the $5 donation through Streamlabs, man. He says, much love, my man. Much love to you. I wish I could have watched your stream earlier, but it started when I was at school, and then it was still going on when I was at the doctor's office. And had I known I was going to be in the doctor's office and waiting around for 45 minutes with no one in the room with me, then I probably would have jumped on. But, that's what it is. It's slow going over on DLive. Is everyone okay over on DLive? 4 people watching over there. Kim Cam Park, what's going on? I know Peabody's got some slow internet going on there, but much love to my DLive people. All right, let's see. Legit36 says, I'm sure you've heard about Jeffrey Wright being cast as Commissioner Gordon, even though in canon, J.K. Simmons is already in the role. Yeah, I've heard the rumor. I didn't know that it was confirmed, but let me go ahead and look at it. I personally like Jeffrey Wright as an actor. Yeah, according a day ago, it was said he is in talks, so it's not been confirmed yet. So Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright are both in talks as of the last article that's popping up here. That could have changed, but as of the last article, that was what's going on. Jonah Hill apparently was being rumored for the Joker, or not for the Joker. Oh, dear Lord, no. But for the Riddler. Which, you know what, to be honest, he could possibly do. But in my mind, because, again, I'm not a comics person, right? I always try and make that very clear on the channel. In my mind, the Joker is and will always be the Joker from Batman Forever. Will always be the Joker from Batman Forever. Because and I know he's crazy, right? I know that he's absolutely insane. But, dear Lord Jim Carrey, he was perfect in that role. To me, he fully embraced the role so well. And again, that's just from a movie perspective. I love it. I always love going back to see what he has to say. Mr. Pete channel needs 700 subs. What's going on, dude? Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, "Hail Odin. The parks are the flagship of Disney and they are struggling. If I was a shareholder, I'd be beyond furious. It's time for the Iger to end." That's a very good point too. There's been a lot of reports coming out that indeed the parks are not doing well. We already knew about what was going on in California, but now apparently even the Orlando edition of Galaxy's Edge is also not doing well. People are apparently losing their jobs. Again, obviously there's speculation and there's questions of the sources and there's questions of how much is actually being lost. Is it because the summer season has ended? There's a lot of questions, I think, right? But obviously they're still being reported nonetheless. There are these reports that we must look at, that we must listen to, and I think definitely have a lot of credibility to them, right? And obviously we can look at the crowds and we can know that it's not the big smash hit that they expected it to be. But when you make a park called Galaxy's Edge and it's basically Star Wars land and you don't have Star Wars in there, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be pissing some people off. And that's exactly what they're doing. And anyone that goes can finish it in 5 minutes. Remember, Gary was covering this when he was with Jeremy about how they went through the park and it took them about 5 minutes or so to get through and see everything that there is to see. And that's not a real world to me. That's like, okay, so you made a small little extension and then you put Star Wars on the title, but then you made everything so original that there's almost no original Star Wars in there except for a Millennium Falcon ride. Which, from what I've been told, if you have the wrong person in the driver's seat, is not fun. So it's interesting how all this works out the way that it does. But no, Legit 36, just getting back to your point real quick. Thank you for that $5 super chat, Mr. Pete, about Jeffrey Wright. Again, I like him as an actor. I think that if he, acting-wise, will he do the role well? Sure. But to me, it's also a casting that is just very reminiscent of just the modern-day culture that we're living in with everything going on with casting nowadays, right? And that's why, for me, it's like, I can't say I'm mad. I'm not exactly quite at the point yet where I'm going to say it's woke as hell. Because in my mind, when I think of Jeffrey Wright, I don't really think of a political person, really. I just think of a solid actor who I think could play the role very well. And really it all comes down to the reason why I get pissed off mostly about these castings are when it's obviously being forced, which this one, it's just doesn't feel as forced as others because it's not, it's not like they're casting Batman, right? They're casting a supporting character, right? So that's why it's like, for me, it's like not really as forced. But also he is a very good actor too, right? So obviously there's gonna be people that might disagree with me on that point, But overall, I'm not quite seeing it yet. But obviously, we could easily get there very quickly. Goes to Osla says, what are some of your favorite sequels of all time? Back to the Future Part 2. Back to the Future Part 2 is a freaking amazing film. I love Back to the Future Part 2 and Part 3 for the record. I love all the Back to the Futures. They're all a part of the same universe, the same film to me. But yeah, I would have to go there. CW Trixie says, have you heard about Iger's latest push for Galaxy's Edge everywhere within Disney media, even down to ESPN? That is some new level of desperation. Well, yeah, because no one's going to the park, so they kind of need to get the word out there, I tell you. Bruce says, Star Wars has been so monkey punched. Hybrid says, ignore Seth, Gandalf the Grey. Ignore Seth. I'm Gandalf the Right. Okay, HyperNX13. I gotcha. I forgot about the other name. Random Dirty says, I think Marvel, Lucasfilm, Disney should a Deadpool, Jar Jar Binks rated R adult show in the vein of Ren and Stimpy. Nah, I don't like that. I know you're probably joking, but I don't like that. Ren and Stimpy is fine. That doesn't belong in Star Wars. Soul Assassin says, the book just shows that Bobby Iger is a con man and swindled poor George out of his franchise. And I know in the book, he tries to make it clear that he told George Lucas that he was not promising to do his stories. But when you say, hey, you have stories, right? Because George Lucas says, hey, I got 3 stories. And they say, tell us the stories. And then you tell him, hey, these stories are great. We want to buy them from you. You kind of seem to indicate that you're at least going to use part of it, right? You might not use the entire story. You might make some changes, but overall, you're gonna follow it, right? Again, overall, you're gonna follow it. Sorry, I had to take care of a disgusting name over on... God, I hate these people. I just don't understand it. I really don't. And congratulations. I'll gladly take your lemons, bro, because all I'm going to do is just go to my editing and your thing is gone. Boom, it's gone. Congratulations. Thanks for the lemons, by the way. Asshat over on DLive. Screw you, bud. Screw you, bud. You know what I feel like? I feel like that senator from Iron Man. Screw you, Tony Stark. That's what I feel like. Only this dude is an actual asshat. Only this dude is a terrible person, right? Literally a channel that was just created to troll people. So thank you for the lemons, man. I appreciate those lemons. Man. Congratulations. Your name is no longer being shown on the screen. Anyway, let's go ahead and get that dirty taste out of our mouth. But yeah, I think that, you promised George Lucas saying, hey, guess what we're going to do? We're going to offer you this money. We're going to pay for your stories, and then we're not going to use them. And not even to say, hey, we like your stories, but there's some things a little bit off with it, right? There's some things that we want to do. And, instead it's just a no, we're just going to say, screw you. We're just going to leave them all in the dust. We're just going to leave them all to rot in the dust, never to see the light of day. Except when I use it as an antidote in my book. Like, seriously, that's what makes it even worse. It's not just that he screwed over George Lucas, but also that now he's using it as an antidote in his book. Saying like, oh, George's pain is now going to be used. George's anger is now going to be used as a selling point of my book. Or as one of the points I'll be bringing up in my book. Just shows what kind of a person Bob Iger is, in my opinion. Bruce says, so Odin, are you making a correlation between liking the prequels and being a Trump supporter? Yes, I am, Bruce. You caught me. You caught me red-handed, Bruce. You see through me. All right. Chat jumped on me like it normally does. So I'm at 7:09 in the chat. So I'm about 10 minutes behind in the YouTube chat. So if your comment got skipped, I'm very, very sorry about that indeed. Captain Will Gentry says, it does seem DLive has a bit of an issue with that stuff. It does. And I don't know what it is. My channel's been trolled a lot more than usual. And again, I'm very sorry to my hardcore DLive people who are not asshats, who are not complete trolls, who are not the scum of the internet. If you do donate, I will, of course, shout you out. But it looks like I might have to keep that off of the stream. Looks like I might have to keep that off of the streams for at least the foreseeable future. Again, last time I brought it back, but you know what? This is going to become a consistent problem. Then I'm just going to have to turn off the notification. And it's sad because there are some really good people over there that I want their names to pop up. I want them to get the recognition they deserve, which is why I'm going to continue to shout you out. But it sucks that, a few asshats have to ruin it for everyone else. Let's see. Tina says, that trash book will be sitting next to those Tico dolls in a few months in the dollar store. Nobody's going to buy that book. These publishers buy a lot of junk books. That is most likely true, Tina, of what the fate of that book is going to be. JKD Buck says, Iger is a snake. Damn right he is. 70B says, hail, what's going on, 70B? Hammer says, hail, what's going on, Hammer? By the way, my 2 people that won the John Wick 4Ks, they will be sent out to you this week. I'm very sorry indeed. I was going to try and get some of that done before the stream, but of course, because of the doctor going on the way it did, I did not have time to. But don't worry, I've got your addresses. I got which ones you've won. They both wanted the 4K, of course, of John Wick, and so those will be sent out probably through Amazon over the next day or so. All right, and then I have 2 people that won the Rambo copies. I have them packaged up and ready to go, but once again, I need to have time to go to the post office, but today was a crazy day. Bruce says, I just got an alert from Hero. Hi, headlines, reads, Matt and Bernie, the CEO and COO of Rooster Teeth, stepped down. I don't really know much about Rooster Teeth, so I that really doesn't mean as much to me because I don't know their names and I don't really know what Rooster Teeth is. Mir Jeremy says, just realized South Park Season 23 premieres tomorrow. Mir Jeremy, you're absolutely right. And the trailer's already come out for it, and apparently they're going after ICE a little bit. Now, of course, when it comes to South Park, they go after everyone, right? So, of course, you'll have some people who are certain, of a certain political ideology saying, oh, look, they're attacking ICE, and this is great. I guarantee you they'll also be going after illegal immigration, too. Like, that's just something they do. They go after everyone. They always go after everyone. And that's why I love South Park, because they understand that comedy is something where you can make fun of everyone. And it's meant to offend, It's great. Bruce says, Rooster Teeth is looking fracked. Orange Hat Reviews, what's going on, man? Says, how are you? Also, hashtag Duck Fisney. Damn right. Damn right. Nessa Nason says, bad leadership clearly trickles down. Your company is under siege on multiple fronts. And U.S. CEO put out a tell-all before your IP that paid billions for has its culmination. Yeah, I mean, honestly, as I said before, the fact that he's using George Lucas now, dear Lord, these people on DLive are just disgusting, man. Captain K-Man, thank you so much for the 2 ice cream donation, man. I really do appreciate that. Captain K-Man says, it's all good. We are still going to support. Well, thank you, Captain K-Man. I really do appreciate that. Captain Dean High says, the doctor, what I'd miss. Too much to catch up on, man. I'm already behind in the chat. And Captain Will Gentry. Captain Gentry says, we're all good. You just keep it off the screen for now. That way their name won't show up on screen, but you still get the lemons. That's very true, Will. That's very, very, very true. And Cash Jimmy, thank you for the ice cream, man. I appreciate it. But no, Nessa, I think that's a great point. I think that's very much a good point overall. And sorry, things are really bad over there. Do I have any? So, Captain Gentry, I just now nominated you since you are now a pretty consistent DLive person, and Peabody's having some internet issues. You are now a mod on the channel. Can you just keep an eye out for these idiots as you can? So again, Troll, you're giving me lemons, man. You're giving me money, and your name's not popping on the screen, and I'm not going to read your name on the screen because you are a hateful, ignorant person. Just going to delete you, man. It's very easy to do on DLive. But sorry, Nessa, so sorry again for these people are idiots. But anyway, Will Gentry, please, if you could help me out. Captain Gentry, I'd appreciate it. But no, the fact that he is now using George Lucas as an antidote, right, in his book, that he's now saying, oh yeah, George Lucas was pretty mad, and then he's trying to justify what he did. He's trying to justify what he did. And it's absolutely ridiculous at this point, man. It's just, you were given the keys to the kingdom. You were given the keys to Star Wars, and the king himself offered you 3 stories, which I imagine were probably pretty good. Dialogue, maybe not. The thing with the wills, I think, is up for debate, but they would have been consistent stories with the rest of the overall trilogy, right? It would have at least been consistent with what had been previously established. And what they do, we'll buy them from you. So that way we can't use them. So that way we don't use them. And my guess is that they did it because they knew they were going in a different direction and they wanted to buy it so that way George could not at some point say, oh, look at what's going on here. Here's what I would have done instead. Now, I'm not sure if George Lucas would have done that, but imagine if he had the rights to his story. Imagine if he still had those stories. What he would do. It would have been magical, man. It would have been absolutely magical. And Captain Gentry, thank you so much. He says, well, I feel honored. Yeah, I'll keep an eye for you. Thank you, Captain Gentry. I appreciate that, man. And no, seriously. I mean, I should have promoted you a long time ago anyway. You're awesome. You are absolutely awesome. I don't know how this dude, I've deleted this guy so many times. How? How is this person still showing up? I don't get it. I do not get it at all. DLive is broken now. DLive is absolutely broken now. Thank you, Captain Gentry. Dear Lord, this dude is just... Captain Gentry, you got this, man. I'm just ignoring him from this point forward. Because he ain't getting shouted out on the channel. And all I'm doing is taking his money. 16-bit mascot, you like Tennessee? I hear it's a great place. It's a wonderful place to live. And again, Ness and I'm very sorry about that response, man, but I think you get what I'm trying to get. I'm so distracted. I have ADD, Rand. I have ADD, and it's just when that stuff's going on, I can't focus. We got 120 people watching over on YouTube. Thank you so much. 13 people over on DLive. Thank you to everyone on DLive except for the asshat who's being a complete asshat. And thank you to all the amazing people, because no one's being an asshat right now over on the YouTube side of things. So thank you so much for being awesome. And thanks to the Valkyrie. Thanks to the mods for doing whatever work that I might not see behind the scenes. Zach Gregg says, it shows how evil the mouse is. I can't stand Disney the Monopoly. I'm right there with you. They really are becoming more of a monopoly every single day. Jeremy Swig says, will you ever go back on the High Council or other group stream? I hope you aren't being left out. I would go on if they invited me, but they don't invite me. The only real connection that I had that I was very close with on the High Council was Jeremy, who, again, doesn't have time for the High Council, but apparently enough time to be on the High Council, more than he was before. But no, I mean, I love those guys over there. If they ever invite me back on, I'm game. And if you want to see me on group streams, every Friday, I'm on Gary Nerdrotic's channel. We do Friday Night Tights together. It's me, him, Comics Division, and then we got a panel of people that we bring on. Jeremy has been joining us a few times, and a lot of other people have been joining us too. It's been a lot of fun. We've had Drunk 3PO on the last couple of weeks, and Drunk is just an amazing guy. Drunk, if you're still watching, man, love you so much, dude. It's great to have you on those streams. But no, yeah, when it comes to High Council, again, if I was invited, I would say yes. But again, the only person that I really knew very well and had a very strong connection to was Jeremy, right? I've only ever talked to EVS like a handful of times. And it's very, I mean, again, no real direct conversation either. We had one Twitter spat. We had one Twitter spat. And that was about the most direct, other than him being brought on a stream that I was on, etc. There was that one really awesome stream where I was feeling really down because I'd just been told about my old job that I wasn't being invited I wasn't being invited back. And the reason why, as they told me, was because they didn't have room for me, because we were losing students a lot. Again, enrollment was down. And also they wanted to bring in a religious to take my spot because they didn't have any religious on campus. It was this terrible situation. I felt awful. And so I was going to have a stream with Anna. Anna then surprised me. And Jeremy got on there. EVS got on there. And Jesse Milestone was on there too. There's a crowd. I mean, it's been so long. A lot of people showed up, and it was amazing. And that, I think that's the last time I can remember that I was having a one-on-one interaction with him. And then Jeff, I don't really talk to. Again, I saw him at the most I've talked with Jeff was at Star Wars Celebration when I was lost, and he was the only one I could find. And yeah. Alice McCarthy says, Drunk stream was awesome. Tina and I were mods, and Jeremy showed up in the chat eating pizza. That's awesome, Alice McCarthy. That is freaking awesome, man. Dude, Geeks and Gamers team is getting better, dude. Ryan, if you have not checked out RK Outpost, holy crap, dude. That dude is awesome. That dude is solid. So freaking cool. Drunk 3PO, of course, being added on recently. So many cool people being added over there. It's great. Bruce says, I hate Jim Carrey now, but yes, he will always be the Riddler. Yeah, same here. Again, I think he's crazy, but he's damn funny, especially his classic stuff. Mike Martinez says, I feel like they are trying to completely reboot the DCEU due to some of the recasting of characters. Yeah. And that's the biggest problem with the DCEU is that they don't really seem to have a central authority that's making a lot of these decisions. I know that people are going to be able to point out random things, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. There's just a lot of inconsistency going on over there. Kermit the Log, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Says, Hail Odin, hope life is good, bro. Well, thank you, Kermit the Log. I appreciate that. Hope life is going well with you too, good sir. You are awesome, man. All right, jumping back over to DLive because, again, I think that things have calmed down a little bit. Captain Dean High says, we see who donated in the chat, so we don't need to see it on screen. Well, thank you, Captain Dean High. I appreciate it. I just like having it on there because I like people getting recognition because, to me, if you're going to give not just your time but your hard-earned money, I think you deserve everything that I can possibly give. And if that's shouting you out, talking to you, and then, of course, just having your name and message pop up on screen, Again, that's what it's supposed to be for, but some people try and ruin it, right? Captain Gentry, again, thank you so much for keeping up with it. Captain Dean Heiss says, these trolls must work for Disney. They must, right? They must be a part of this giant Disney this giant Disney corporation. And Captain Dean Heiss says, all the students from NOLA are moving to Tennessee. Oh, thank you, Captain Dean Heiss. Yeah, I mean, I miss my students. My students were great, and they were awesome. And it's just really sad about everything that happened. You know, I really do miss my students a lot. But I love my current students, too. My current students are awesome. Again, this has been the best start to any year teaching that I've ever had. I'm sure it's because it's now year 5, and also the fact that just it's a different culture and it's a co-ed school. So I've been used to all boys, and all boys schools can be very, very particular in how they interact with each other. So I think having the girls kind of like tempers the guys a little bit too. But then the girls bring their own. It's just it's amazing, right? It's just amazing to me, and it's been a great experience so far. Orange Hat Review says, Joker from Batman Forever? You mean Riddler? Yeah, well, I corrected myself. Orange Hat Reviews. I corrected myself pretty quickly after. So you need to listen, man. You need to listen. Zach Craig says, no Star Wars in Star Wars land. That's why it's failing. Exactly right, man. Eric Blakey says, even if Bob Iger leaves, they'll only hire someone who's just like him or even worse. Probably. But I think that I would rather have someone brand new that could be good than someone we already know isn't. 70B says, oh, hi, you misleader, you. I'm sorry I mislead people. That's in reference because Jeremy had an amazing stream. So talking about RK Outposts, Ryan, who's new at Geeks and Gamers. He was the one that was the moderator of the stream. So the entire stream that Jeremy did, it's a 5-hour plus stream on RK Outpost channel. So Valkyrie, maybe y'all could post a link to it or a link to his channel. And it's the 5+ hour of people coming on to attack Jeremy. All of Jeremy's haters were invited to come on, and only a few came on, which is hilarious to me because so many people hate him, and yet when he invites you to come on to call him out, most of them just flee. Most of them are too scared to come on. And rightly so, because the ones that did come on got destroyed. One in particular, whose name I'm not going to mention on the channel because you know what? That's what he wants. He wants the attention. And if you support Ryan's video, go watch it. You'll find out who it is very quickly. You'll find out who it is very, very quickly who just cannot hold his own. But one of the other persons that comes on is someone that has made fun of me in the past, has mocked me in the past, but also in the stream mentions me by name and says that I put out misinformation. I put out false information about the box office when it came to Alita Battle Angel. And so I did a video on that yesterday and responding to it because I didn't. And if I ever gave anything that was not factually correct, oh, what happened? Oh, they're fighting. Don't you love when dogs play fight? It's so great. Bot says dogs humping. Yeah, that sometimes happens. Even though they're both girls. It's this weird thing. They're both girls, and yet it seems to be a common, and we've talked to trainers about it, and they say, yeah, it's a dominance thing, so even female dogs do it. It's like, that's just, I don't understand why, but okay. But yeah, go watch Ryan's stream. It's fantastic. He tears people apart. But one of them was trying to call me out, and Jeremy shut it down so quickly. He's like, you do not talk about my team and not have facts to back it up. But then he actually turned out being a pretty cool guy at the end of it, which I was like, that was a surprising turn. But I still have beef because he called me out, said things that were not true, and I don't like people dragging my name through. Let me drag my own name through the mud, please. Don't do it for me. Serbian Terminator says, I finally got Alita on Blu-ray. Congratulations, man. Hope you enjoy it. It is beautiful. Great movie. Super says, you're streaming? What a pleasant surprise. Sup, my dude? Don't know how active I'll be in the chat because I got some homework, but I'll be listening. Well, thank you very much for listening anyway. I appreciate it. And yeah, man, it's Tuesday. It's the Low Council, man. Always streaming on Tuesday. And again, very sorry for anyone that thought we were going to have a stream yesterday. But as I've been telling my streams the last few days, I have been getting kind of burnt out. That's why today feels great because I had last night off. But I this past week especially, I have Friday night streams, Saturday night streams, and then this past Sunday I had the Patreon stream, Patreon Subscribe Star, Chosen of Valhalla, which is still up on the channel, so go check that out. It's a good time. So I was just out streaming, so I was like, I definitely need to take yesterday off, so I definitely had to take Monday off, but I'm thinking of making that a permanent thing, where I'll have the Tuesday stream, I'll have my Friday night tight stream over on Nerdronic's channel, do my Saturday night stream like normal, and then whenever there is the Patreon stream, that'll be on a Sunday. But then that way I'm only streaming 3 times a week, counting the one on Nerdrotics channel, because, obviously I need to spend time with Freya. I need to spend time with the dogs. And I don't want to overstream. I don't want to overdo it. I'm having fun. And the last thing I want is for this to not be fun anymore. And right now, I'm still having a lot of fun with it, though. Orange Chat Review says, did you see the 9/11 conspiracy tied to Back to the Future? I don't do conspiracies, but it's interesting to watch. No, I have not. Yeah, I don't do conspiracies either. And I don't want a conspiracy tied to one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah, just not my thing. Just not my thing. All right, chat jumped on me again. So we're at 722 in the chat. 722 in the chat. And Orange Eye Review says, Rooster Teeth owns the Death Battle channel. I don't know Death Battle, so that I still don't know what's being talked about. Mirror Jeremy says, did you see the new Adam Sandler trailer for his movie Uncut Gems? I'm excited for it. The same directors did Good Times with Robert Pattinson. Oh, no, I have not seen that trailer yet. I thought I saw the name pop up, but I haven't actually watched it. Hypernex13 says, you should make memes of D-Lav trolls as the cave troll orcs versus Gandalf and Gondor. Nice. Jimmy Calder says, could Disney have bought George's sequel ideas to prevent him from releasing it later? Now that they own his ideas, they can keep pushing their version as the only sequels we'll get. Well, here's the problem with that. They already owned the rights to Star Wars. This is them purchasing the stories themselves. So it's not, I don't think it's out of fear that George would have made these movies later on. I think it's because they did not want the stories coming out. Because now that they own the stories, George can't go ahead and say, hey, here's the movies that I would have told. Because now they own them. And that's what would have happened, I think, is that if they had not purchased them and gone ahead with the sequel trilogy like they did, then what probably would have happened is George would have seen, hey, this is not the direction that we talked about. This is not the direction that I wanted to go. Hey, guys, I don't own it anymore, but what if? What if this had happened? And then everyone would, of course, been like, oh, this is so much better. This at least makes sense. So I think it was them trying to avoid that from happening, because George obviously could have done it, could not have. I mean, again, George could easily have just held on to the stories, held them tight, saying no one's ever going to get these. No one, not ever, not know how. But I think it's more to do with that than it has to do with fear of him doing it later, because they already own the rights, and so he's not getting those back, sadly. Super says, Rooster Teeth is an entertainment company owned by Warner Brothers who got started online. They made Red vs. Blue. The headline's important because they were the first to fire Vic Mignogna. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know about the Vic story, more or less. But that is interesting. I've heard of Red vs. Blue. I've never actually watched it myself. Mex, what's going on, says, how is your Star Wars EU reading coming along? Very, very poorly. Very poorly. I've been listening to so many podcasts on the road. I just haven't had the mental energy to start listening back to those stories again. But the last time I checked, I had read the Thrawn duology, Thrawn trilogy, Outbound Flight, and I'm in the process of trying to listen to a couple stories. I can't remember what they were right now. Final Death Star, thank you for subscribing to the channel, man. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Cash Jimmy, thank you for that ice cream, man. I really do appreciate that as well. Captain Gentry says, it was an interesting stream. Only one had a real problem with Jeremy. The others were just a bit annoyed with him. Yeah, exactly. Like, the others were a bit annoyed, and by the end of the stream, they ended up being friends. There was only one on there who was the worst because he had no evidence to back up what he was saying. He was a complete idiot, made himself look like a complete idiot, and Jeremy exposed the hell out of it, and it was wonderful. Captain Dean High says, caught part of Ryan's stream. Jeremy just destroyed the ones that try to take him down. Yep, exactly, because he's like, if you hit me, I will hit you back twice as hard. That's always been his philosophy. You can like it, you can hate it, but that's always been his philosophy. And I support him in that. Zach Gregg says, the just directly spat in Lucas's face? What? I'm very confused by that. But yes, they did spit in his face. No problem. No question about it. JKD says, must be Ryan Johnson. Yeah, pretty much. Meg says, at the very least, George would have broken new ground and not retread a story that's already been told, one that was better than the first time. Exactly. That's the whole point, right? Is that George Lucas would have, with his original stories, which apparently we'll never know fully about because Disney owns the rights to them. And why would they want to release the stories that are better than what they came up with, right? Why would they want to release stories showing that George Lucas is so much better of a creator than they are, right? They're never going to do it. But you're right. At least George's stories, they may have been out there with the Wills, going full bore into the midichlorians, right? But at least that would have been consistent with what had been pre-established, right? He would have covered, as you said, new ground, new planets, new species, new characters. And it probably would have been done much better. That's why I said, if you want to have the ultimate Star Wars film or Star Wars franchise, you have George Lucas writing the story. You have any solid writer, any solid screenwriter doing the dialogue. And then you have any solid sci-fi director doing the direction. You will have yourself a wonderful, even action director, you will have a wonderful Star Wars franchise if you do those things. But instead they're like, no, we don't need that. We don't need George Lucas. We understand Star Wars. We can do this on our own. And then we got The Force Awakens, which, again, overall, I like still. In The Wake of the Last Jedi, it sucks. Because in The Wake of the Last Jedi, all the points that it suggests that could be interesting no longer matter. Because The Last Jedi said, oh, I see what you're doing here, JJ. Screw you. I'm doing my own movie. Kathleen Kennedy said I could do this. Because my name is Ryan Johnson, and I'm a Russian agent, and I will do everything I can to destroy this. That's my conspiracy theory of the day. Tina says, Iger is a jerk, marching up there with the movie and then pretend like they were surprised at George's shock, then coming off with, well, we never agreed to his treatment. Yep, we never agreed that we would actually make his stories into the film itself, even though we told him that we loved the stories and that we wanted to buy the stories, insinuating that we would do something with them, and they did. They sat on them, and they will continue to sit on them because they don't want anyone to know just how much better those stories would have been. Captain Dean Heist, thank you for the 3 ice cream donation over on DLive, man. I appreciate you very much. Captain Gentry says, I think George would have had an answer to JJ's problem of Luke taking over when he showed up in The Force Awakens, but we'll never know, sadly. I bet he can't release it as a book trilogy now that Disney owns the rights to Star Wars. No, Captain Gentry, that's the whole point that I'm trying to make, is that I think the reason why they bought the rights, not just to Star Wars, obviously they had those, but the reasons why they bought the story specifically is because now George does not have the right to them anymore. So in a book, if he ever wrote one, he can't say, here's exactly what I would have done. He can maybe hint at it. He can maybe mention like small pieces of it, but he can never release the full stories that he had in mind. Imagine if he had not sold those stories. Because that's the other thing too, is that he gave them the stories because he assumed that he would be on as an advisor and that he would still see his vision on the screen in someone else's hands. He trusted them. He trusted Bob Iger. He trusted Kathleen Kennedy with the keys to the kingdom. And they spat in his face, as someone said. And you're exactly right. They spat in his face and made him believe something. And now Bob Iger's using it as a antidote in his films, in his book, saying, "Oh no, we never promised him anything." And it's like we can read through the lines. You made it seem as if George would still have a very strong input in the overall franchise. You liked his stories. You said you loved his stories. You wanted to buy his stories, and then you say, "Nope, we're doing our own thing." But thank you for selling us your stories that no one's ever going to know about now. Congratulations. Thanks, Disney. I appreciate that. So very much so. Ah, man. Makes you mad. Captain Winkster says, hello, all my fellow asshats. What's going on, Winkster? Alice McCarthy says, smash the melee button because Odin's question's awesome. Well, thank you, Alice McCarthy. I appreciate that. Smash that melee button, please. I appreciate it. Nasson says, no worries. You know what it is to pay attention to fans, unlike Iger. What the shareholders, what be thinking now? Yeah, seriously, I want to know. And I know that there are sites out there that own shares, like Motley Fool owns shares. And there was a couple times they put out some pretty great articles being critical of Disney because they do own shares. And they make it clear saying, by the way, we are shareholders in Disney. So we have some stake in what we're talking about here. I would love to hear a shareholder's thought on this. And I know that there have been shareholders that have spoken out on this topic. But I would love to hear them now. I would love to hear what their thought is on Disney stock. But I will say this much. With Disney Plus ready to release, Disney Plus is going to be successful. It's pretty much guaranteed at this point. It's going to be successful. I know way too many people who have already signed up for it, pre-signed up for it. It's going to be successful, especially with families, right? And there's a lot of content on there that's going to definitely gear itself towards the family audiences. That is what's going to lift up their stock prices and what's going to essentially overshadow the negativity of what's going on in the parks, etc. That's at least what I think is going to happen. Mex says, I know I've been away for a while, but whatever happened to Australian Rose Tiga? Australian Rose Tiga got bushwhacked and got replaced by Voltan. That's what happened. Odin's alive. Eric Blakey says, Disney is hogging the film industry pie and not letting anyone have some. We want some pie as well, Disney. We damn right want some pie, man. As EVS would say, I like my pie. I want a little bit of that pie too, right? And yeah, they are. And especially overseas. I've tried to make this point before. I kind of want to dive into their books a little bit. To find out what kind of deals they're making with China. Because it seems like they're getting a lot of those slots over there. Very limited slots in China. Star Wars for life. Ruthie, I'm listening to your stream from work. Great stream. Well, thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Star Wars for life. I appreciate that very much. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for your hard work, too. Love seeing all the stuff you're doing over on Twitter, man. Let us see here. Mech says, did Australian Roasty go? Crash the speeder again. Damn right she did. JKD Buck says, your stream is the best. I love you and Gary, and the fact that you two stream together makes me as happy as a fat guy at a buffet. That's pretty damn happy. And as a somewhat fat guy who likes buffets, I can definitely attest to that being a wonderful thing. But yeah, I love doing the streams with Gary too. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm sad that my back has been acting up recently, and that's the reason why I've had to cut out at an hour and a half, 2 hours tops on those streams. Because I used to be able to go much longer, but now it's just, I've been having some issues. Nicola says, careful what you wish for. Lucas's lost scripts could very well be The Binks Awakens and Rise of Jar Jar. Hey, you know what? At least Rise of Jar Jar would be better. Random Nerd of Doom says, the only good advice John Campea gave is winning solves everything, and the Phantom Menace is winning at everything, and John is losing badly. Keep it up, Odin. Keep making John cry. Of course, always will try to. One of my first videos on this channel was calling out John Campea about the Solo box office, and that was a fun video to make. You can find it. It was a long, again, I feel like it was forever ago, but realistically it was about a little over a year at this point. This is my first video on the channel, like one of my first main videos on the channel. It's amazing that it's been that long, and it hasn't been that long at all. Robert Frey says, Fridays I have chosen between Nerdrotic stream and Overlord DVD stream. It's Sophie's choice. Yeah, Robert Frey, I know. That's like the one thing I hate about it is that I don't like going up against Doomcock because I love Doomcock. I think that he's a great YouTuber and he's a really cool person. And I can't wait to, I really want to do a stream with him one day. And I would love to talk with him and like pick his brain on certain things. But yeah, I that's the one thing I hate about it is that we go up against him. But it's a scheduling thing, right? It is a scheduling thing. Atomic Artist 415 says, do you think Bob Iger included that story because he thinks it makes him look good, as if he believes essentially putting George in his place what the fans wanted? What an ego. I think he is so egotistical. I think that's what it is, Atomic Artist, is that his ego got in the way. I think his ego said, I'm going to put this in here so that way all the fans know exactly what I did. He is so confident in his story. He is so confident in the modern Star Wars era, even though things don't really support that. He's so confident that it's doing well and that everyone loves it, that he's willing to throw George Lucas under the bus publicly in his book like that. Ranek says, if you do stream on Fridays, don't they interfere with those of Doomcock? They do. And again, that's the one downside to it at this point. But again, it's not a competition. We always say, watch us both. Listen to whoever you want, but watch us both. John Early says, considering that George Lucas wrote and directed the prequels, maybe he didn't deserve better. But at least George Lucas can go cry into piles and piles of money. I strongly disagree with you, John Early. I really do. Again, he does have the money, right? But you can have all the money in the world. But if your baby, if your brainchild, if you saw someone take something you created and you see them destroy it after they made it very clear, hey, we are going to take care of this for you. We are going to continue your legacy. We are going to continue on moving forward. Oh, you have stories? We want to hear them. Oh, those are great. We want to buy the stories from you. We respect you, George. And then, oh, we bought the stories, but we never promised you that we had to use them, and we're not because we're going in our own direction because we know better than you, George, and go ahead and sit in the back, please. That's what happened. And so, no, I feel bad for George, even though he made money. Yeah, he made money. But if you make all the money in the world, if there's something that you are so passionate about that you love, that you had to give up for it, that pain is not going to go away. Again, that pain is not going to go away. He loved Star Wars. He still loves Star Wars. And I agree. The prequels, acting and dialogue are not very good. I am a big critic of the prequels. However, the story is still good. The overall story arcs are good. That's why Clone Wars is so good, because Clone Wars, guess what? That came from the mind of George Lucas. That was created by George Lucas. Clone Wars was one of the greatest things about Star Wars. I look at it as original trilogy, and right behind the original trilogy is Clone Wars. That's how good Clone Wars is. And you wouldn't have gotten Clone Wars without the prequels. So obviously he knew what he was doing when it comes to that, right? But as I said, he needs to be the one writing the story. You need someone else writing dialogue and someone else directing the actors. That is the best way to use George Lucas, and that is the best direction for Star Wars in general. Mex says, this is a lie. There are only... The cake is a lie. There are only cookies. Through cookies, I gain weight. Through weight, I gain obesity. Through obesity, my chair is broken. Calories will set me free. Yes. Mex, it's been so long since the train of thought. It's been so long since the train of thought, man. I love it. I love that so much. Serbian Turner says, I finally got a lead on Blu-ray. Thank the heavens. My Twitter is Dimitri. Dimitri Thieser B. Well, thank you, Serbian Turner. Thank you very much. That's awesome, dude. Hope you enjoy it. Bruce says, toggles is a better word, but it says it boggles the mind how studios would see how Marvel works with one mind gilding the franchises and say to themselves, nah. I know, right? It is weird. It really is weird to see that. They look at the giant franchise that's been built by Marvel to the point where even movies like this, yeah. Yep. I was so frustrated I couldn't even throw it. Even movies like that, as River goes to check it out. The reason why I didn't want to throw it fully is because I have a little dog who was sleeping behind me, and now she's awake. Now I feel bad. Thanks, Bruce. I blame Bruce. I love throwing them, though. It is fun. But they're just calming down. So River's sniffing it right now. Don't eat it, River. It might be toxic. It's made with brie, and I don't mean the cheese. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure my dog's okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that when you look to the franchises overall, you looked at Marvel, and whether we hate Marvel or not, the fact that they were able to build a franchise so strong that even crappy movies like Captain Marvel, like I just showed you, are making money, that is a huge indication of the amount of power that they have been able to build. Random Nerd Doom says, when will they put Clayface in the live-action Batman movie? I hope they do so. I hope. I love Clayface. Clayface is one of the most interesting characters to me. I remember when I first was introduced to Clayface watching Batman the Animated Series, and holy crap, great origin story. Wonderful origin story. All right, jumping over to DLive for a minute. Captain Gentry says, Clownfish TV have shares in Disney, and they're slamming them all the time. Boom, there it is right there. Tina is my Valkyrie, and she loves Clownfish TV. So ask her any questions you have about Clownfish TV. She loves it. I wish I had more time to watch them all. Captain High says, I allegedly watch some things that are on Disney Plus, but won't give them any of my money. Allegedly, I will too. Allegedly, of course. Captain Gentry says, how long have you been doing live streams on your own channel now? I can remember mentioning the Wookiee onesie when you hit 1,000. Yeah, dude, it's been a little over a year. My first live stream was July of 2018. July of 2018 was my first live stream. And guess who was in that first live stream? Or no, maybe it was the second live stream, but very early on, within one of my first 2 or 3 live streams, Stephanie B, my general, started watching the channel. Did not take very long for me to realize how amazing she was, for her to become a Valkyrie. Tina did not come long after that. Both Tina and Steph have been around for a very long time, but Steph was around like during those early rough days of using a phone and just not having any idea what I was doing. It was great. Captain Dean High says, start with Gary Odin on Friday because Doomcock will still be going long after they're done. That's a very, very good point. That's an excellent point. Captain Gentry says, McQueen, no, how could you, McQueen? And then he posted a picture of Brie Larson with a heart next to it. Captain Gentry loves some Brie Larson, man. I tell you. Captain K-Man, thank you for the 4 lemon donation, man. I appreciate you. You're great. Captain K-Man also said, man, not while I'm eating. I'm sorry I ruined your dinner, man. I'm sorry about that, man. Candice Marie, thank you for subscribing to the channel. And Primeval 110872, thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you very much. Let's see. Mech says, I'm considering seeing Ad Astra over the weekend. Have you seen it? If so, what's your opinion of the film? I've not seen it yet. I've heard very good things about it, though. I've heard mixed things about it, to be honest. But someone I very much trust gave it a B-. And to me, that sounds like the fairest review. He says it's long and it's boring, but it's overall beautiful to look at. And so basically, if you like sci-fi, slow burn sci-fi movies with great, wonderful visual effects, you might like it. But I've heard from a lot of people saying they don't really see any wokeness in it. So even though there's been a lot of coverage of it being woke, that's coming more from the star and coming more from the media talking about it, because guess what? That's what they do. They like to take movies and everything and try and put an agenda behind it, and that's what they try to do with Ad Astra. But I've heard relatively good things about it. Blake Hemlow says, I'm going to be a guest on Arcade Outpost real soon. Nice, Blake. Congratulations. Dude, Ryan's awesome. Ryan is one of those persons where he just wants dialogue. He just wants discussion. That's why he's awesome. Bruce says, we should take bets on who will win, Summer or Willow. So Bruce, I've noticed several times when you mention my dog's names, I'm not sure if you're doing it on purpose or not, but my dog's names are River, like the body of water, River, and Willow, not Summer. I've never been sure if you're trying to make like a film reference or TV reference or not, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, so Willow is the one that's always the couch pup. She's the one that's passed out right now. Look at that face. Look at that cute little pup. Yeah, that's so cute. And then River's the one that's never seen because she's usually at my feet or lying on the ground. Sometimes she'll try and get in my lap, and that's when I pull her up and show her to everybody, but she likes to cause havoc. Catherine Wingster says, Phillips and Joaquin are shutting down critics the movie's responsibility for bad people. They also said that movie discusses actual societal problems, and if you can, go see this movie. Yeah, I mean, I think that what they're doing is great because, yeah, the fact that, again, critics are trying to own the narrative of the film and say, this is promoting violence, even though we know, because we have brains, that movies, television, video games, they do not cause anyone to be violent. They do not cause anyone to be violent. This is just a verifiable fact. There have been studies done on this because people have been saying it for a long time. It desensitizes us to violence. It might make it easier as a culture for certain things to happen, but it does not make people violent in and of itself. If you watch or play a violent video game, you're not going to go say, I must now go do this. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. So I'm glad that they're trying to shut that conversation down because it's stupid. Candice Marie, thank you for the $2 super chat. Candice Marie, you just subscribed to the channel and you just gave a super chat. Thank you so much. It says, my dog's name is Rio, Spanish for river. Nice. Very cool, Candice Marie. That's awesome. I know a little Spanish. I'm very good at Spanish on paper. Spoken, not so much. I couldn't hold a conversation, but I can read it. I can read it pretty well for the most part. It's been a while though. That's awesome. That's a great name. That's a wonderful name for a dog. I'm not just saying that because my dog's name is River. Alistair Garthy says, I got scared and also laughed when Anna came on that Bash Jeremy stream. Yeah, seriously. I would never want to cross. I like crossing Anna in the joking around with her, talking about how bad Shape of Water is, talking about how bad Avatar is and such. But in real life, would never, ever cross her. Mirror Jeremy says, my worst nightmare is that Iger steps down, Kathleen Kennedy becomes Disney CEO, and someone from Kennedy's story group take her spot at the head of Lucasfilm. Sorry for that scary thought. Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen, because dear Lord, that is terrifying. 70 says, your girls are so sweet. I love my girls. They're awesome. Soulsat says, Ryan's stream reminds me to not get on Anna's bad side. Yeah, seriously. If you were not scared of it before, watch the stream, and then you hopefully will be woken up to that fact, all right? All right, YouTube chat jumped on me. Very, very sorry about that. I'm at 7:46 in the YouTube chat. I'm about 15 minutes behind. So again, very sorry if you're on YouTube. I'm not skipping comments, I swear. 7:46 in the chat. Sporking News Podcast says, isn't Disney a monopoly or on the verge? It seems to be on the verge. I think that it's technically not. I think that they stay on the edge because they know what they can get away with. However, I think that they should be investigated because I would not be surprised at the very least that they're doing some fishy stuff with their money behind the scenes. JJ, what's going on, bruv? How is it going? Dark Detective says, did you see the new Batman movie casting? Thoughts? So we talked about it earlier about Jeffrey Wright, and they have not been confirmed yet. Again, the last, I Google searched it just a few minutes ago, and these were still pending. These were still just rumors of them being called in about certain roles. And so Jeffrey Wright, for those who don't know who Jeffrey Wright is, just Google his name. You'll be like, oh, I know this guy. This guy looks very familiar. He was recently in Westworld. He was like the main engineer, I guess you could say, in Westworld. Very, very, very solid actor. And then also Jonah Hill is being in talks to play a character too. But last time I checked, they were not confirmed yet. Hiram says, it blew my mind that Saturday and Sunday was Batman and Hobbit Day. Funny thing was Batman Day. Without realizing it, I requested the Dark Knight trilogy for flashback cinema. That's awesome, Hypern. Yeah, everyone was talking about it. I was like, I had no idea. Yeah, I was in the same way where everything just melded together because the weekend was so crazy. Mir Jeremy says, I'll give The Rise of Skywalker. It hasn't come out yet. But it's already a better movie than The Last Jedi. It's not hard to do, man. Mir Jeremy, it's not hard to do that. You know this to be true. Darkness says, you stream with Gary made me more happy than how woke Disney is. Ryan Summers says, since Jeremy is in the chat, you two really need to start up an alternative to Rotten Tomatoes. Wait, Jeremy's in the chat? I didn't see that. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that you got to tag me in. Also, it could have been in the comments that were skipped. But if Jeremy's watching, thank you for being here, Jeremy. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Love you, man. And yeah, I know that I'm trying to do the alternative to Rotten Tomatoes. It's slow going. Again, I just don't have the time to dedicate to it or the finances to dedicate to it. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it fully. I don't want to half-ass it, right? So that's why I've got my working project to try and get to know some of the ins and outs of how to do certain things on websites, which is still available in the description of the video. It's ombreviewshome.blog. It's a disgusting title. I know it's so unprofessional, but it's free. And that's the reason why I have it set up that way. But I know Jeremy was thinking of doing it. I don't know what happened. I know Jeremy's got so many things planned. I don't even know about half the things he's got planned. But yeah, Jeremy's awesome. Much love to Jeremy. Zach Gray says, if I was George Lucas after hearing that, I would break the contract and release those outlines. I would too. And trust me, you would have millions of fans, not just thousands, millions of fans having his back in doing that too. No question. Soul says, your back hurts, try yoga and it helps my back. Felt better, ask Steph. Yes, she recommended certain stretches to do, about like putting feet on the wall, essentially. I'm lazy when it comes to that. I'm lazy. I hate stretching. Stretching is the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. Not as bad as veggies, but close. Servant Turner says, did you hear James would make Alita 2 with or without Disney? I did not hear that, but if that is true, good on you, man. We have your back. No question. Orange Eye Review says, small off topic. Did you know that Rambo 5 story was originally abandoned concept of Rambo 4? Those who are calling it political don't realize the story was over 10 years old. Yeah, of course not, because they're idiots. And again, because you did research, Orange Hat, and I know that you do. Again, go check out Orange Hat's channel. He's a good dude. And you're absolutely right, because you did the research on it. But also, there's also been word that he wanted to do a story about PTSD, and Hollywood said no. So the movie that he wanted to tell that might not have had some of the elements in the story that we got because they shut down his original story. I mean, it's just, you can't make this stuff up. Super Anime Gamer says, even if these unreleased scripts Lucas had were the worst movies ever made, they'd still be his. He would be the one to bury the franchise, not Disney. That's fair. That's a good point. But also, to be honest, I don't think he would bury the franchise. He might have more crappy dialogue if he's the one writing the dialogue and directing it. But it still would have been, consistent. It would have been a good story, right? At the very least, would have had that. All right, jumping back over to D-Live for a second. Captain Gentry says, the only time video games cause violence is when you take them away from someone who's addicted to them. Exactly right. And that's the other thing too, right? Is that you can become addicted to video games like with many things. And if you have an addiction to it, that's when violence can happen. But, that's not what's going on in many of these situations that come up, right? Cash Jimmy, thank you for the ice cream donation, man. I appreciate it. Captain Gentry says, if you do that, then you get the anger that any addict withdrawal gets. Exactly. You're exactly right. Captain K-Man says, after playing NES Punch-Out, I always want to run behind a trainer who's on a bike and prepare to fight Glass Jaw Joe. I've never played NES Punch-Out, but that's so unique. Kim Camp Park says, Kim Camp Park, thank you very much for the ice cream, man. I appreciate that. You're awesome. And XL Pawn, thank you very much for the follow over on the D-Live. Appreciate that, man. Let's see. Tina says, I know how George feels, though. Both Eric von Stroheim and Orson Welles had movies taken away from them by the studios and butchered. They said it was like watching their children be killed. Exactly. I mean, to some people, movies, stories, scripts, whatever have you, if it is a creative, or if it's a part of their creative, if it's a part of their creative process, if it came from them directly, it is like a child to many of them, right? I know that for me, I'm a person of faith. My faith is like that. I don't want anyone to ever try. If you go after me for it, it's like if you were to go after a family member of mine, right? And I think that that's exactly the feeling what's going on. That's why I can only imagine what George is going through right now, seeing not just this being rehashed, but also the fact that he put it in his book, the fact that Bob Iger put this in his book, made it clear that he and others pretty much dragged George along, made him believe certain things that weren't true. And they're trying to paint George as the disillusioned one. They're trying to paint him, George Lucas, as being the one that had no idea what was going on out of ignorance, saying, oh, we made it clear this, we made it clear that, when he's also making it clear that he's the one and his group is the one that strung him along that whole time so they could actually buy his story so that way no one could ever see them. It's ridiculous, man. It sucks. Super says, honestly, for me, I actually think I like the Clone Wars more than the original trilogy. Please don't hurt me. Super. I think you have every right to think that because the Clone Wars is so great. Again, I disagree. I like the original trilogy more. But hey, I think you're right up there. And the reason why, too, is because I love New Hope. Best is, of course, Empire. Return, I like. I really do like Return of the Jedi. I don't hate it. Some people hate it. Like some people are, they're like, it's my least favorite. But even then, some of them can admit, yeah, but it's still good. Especially it's better than the crap we have now, right? But Clone Wars is just consistently good, right? I can't think of a really bad season in Clone Wars, right? Or an overly weak season in Clone Wars. Nason says, their diversity narrative was such an afterthought for Iger that his tell-all excerpts come out the same time as they drop a Whammon as the scapegoat for Galaxy's Edge. Yep, isn't it amazing, the hypocrisy? Random Nerd of Doom says, what are your thoughts on the Jendi Tarkovsky Star Wars The Clone Wars series from 2003? Again, I never saw the series. If you're talking about the one that wasn't a series but became the movie, and the movie just was discombobulated, didn't make any sense. That one was not nearly as good as the actual legit series that came after. HyperNex13 says, my personal opinion, I actually think Batman has the most consistent villains compared to any other superhero. Fair point. 70B says, good times indeed. Yay. Tina says, oh, Tina's just smiling. You're awesome. And yeah, I was talking about good times from the very, very beginning. Yeah, the early streams that Steph was here for. That's how far behind in the chats I am. Eric Blakey says, I had Vietnam flashbacks when I saw the Captain Marvel Blu-ray. Oh, damn, Eric, I'm sorry to hear that. I do not want to cause anything like that going on. Micah Martinez says, have you gotten tickets for the Joker yet? I may be going with some friends next weekend. So if things go to plan, I will be seeing Joker early. So my friend, John Flickinger, huge friend of the channel, good dude, runs the Flick Pick channel, awesome guy. Make sure you subscribe to both his channels. He's a cool, awesome bro. He invited me to go see a press screening for Joker. And we'll be seeing it on that Tuesday before it opens. So I'm very pumped about it. Seeing that there's going to be no embargo, seeing that reviews have been out for a month now, which is still ridiculous to me. I can't wait to get back with you guys on that. And it's going to be a late night. I mean, I have to go to Nashville to watch it, so I have to drive almost 2 hours and then 2 hours back after the movie. It's going to be late when I get back, but I'm going to do my best to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a camera with me. That way I can record a video, like a review, that I can just upload as soon as I possibly can, because I want to share with you guys what I feel about it. I want to share that with you guys. But I also plan to buy it as well. I also plan to actually get a ticket to it too, because if I like it, I want it to be successful, right? All right, chat jumped on me once again, but let's see. No one's chat was skipped this time. Good. Tina says, the great rat mouse debate. Oh my God, Tina, yes. So Tina is talking about one of the best debates that I and Anna ever got into was whether the rats, or rather, no, what? Oh my God, I can't even remember. But anyway, so you know how in Cinderella you've got the mice supposedly that are helping. You have the supposed mice that are helping Cinderella build the dress. So I said they look like rats, like they really don't look like mice. They look like rats. And they were trying to say, oh, but if you look to the tail makes it clear. But I'm like, yeah, but I looked at all the other features, right? And we got into like a half an hour, 45-minute debate over something so small, but guess what? It was hilarious. Servant Eternity says, it seems we will not see none of Hulk's enemies for a while except Abomination. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to be doing with Hulk. I mean, we got She-Hulk. I'm assuming they're going to try and bring Hulk into it or not. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. XL Pawn says, just started watching you and I already love your stream. Well, XL Pawn over on DLive, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Again, we're a small community on DLive. I got almost 200 people watching me over YouTube. Guys, if you're watching me on YouTube, thank you so much. Again, 200 people. It's been a long time since we've gotten this many. So thank you so much for being a part of the stream. It's been awesome. My DLive community, small but mighty community. Got 9 people, strong 9 people watching over there. But thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. Again, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But some people do like it. Captain K, man, thank you for the lemon donation, man. You're awesome. Thank you. Bruce says, I keep mixing up character name Winter is named after and the actor's real name. Oh, it's all good, Bruce. Bruce, it is fine. It is no problem at all. Zach Ray says, Anna can go Super Saiyan. It is scary. It is terrifying. It is terrifying to see the anger that can that can come out of her eyes. Senate says, Anna definitely... Okay, yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. So the Senate adds on to that. Anna definitely scares me now after that stream. Yeah, don't cross her. Do not cross her, especially if it's something that actually really matters. Like not just a random opinion like I have, but like something with life in general. So the problem is they hired a legendary comics writer, but can't do films and great movie guys because who don't know the comics. Warner Brothers needs to get people to collaborate and understand DCEU's potential. Oh yeah, and here's what it comes down to. I said this from the beginning. That means that they need this. They need a central figure that's going to dictate and delegate all of these different things. If they can get someone who knows what they're doing, who loves the franchises, who loves the stories and knows and understands them and knows where they can go and their potential, as you said, that is what can create success. But they don't have it. They don't have someone that's doing that. There's rumors that it's JJ. There's rumors that this giant contract that Warner Brothers signed with JJ is about him taking over the DC universe, potentially just him taking on a Superman movie. I don't know what it is. I've got my problems with that, obviously, after what he's done to some other franchises, but especially since he doesn't finish franchises very well. But they need someone, right? They do need someone. Mirror Jeremy says, that reminds me of South Park. Kill John Lennon, kill John Lennon, kill John Lennon. Butter, John Lennon is dead. Then he goes to the Kardashians. Captain Asshat, oh my gosh. Fighting Anna is scary, you say. I sense a challenge, and I was raised by scary women. I just like that there's a person in here called Captain Asshat. That's wonderful. Jake117, you agree that Mad Max is crazy, right? Here's the thing, and again, I'm not gonna mention the dude's name, right? I honestly believe, and I've made this clear on Twitter, and I made this clear in the posts that I left on his video. I was like, I think there's something wrong with you. It's either that he's crazy, or I think that there might be something like psychologically wrong. And it's either going to be it's something to either laugh at or it's something that needs to be taken seriously. Like it's one or the other, because the obsession, the absolute obsession that he has, is scary to me. Like to me, he's got the makings of something much worse. And I hope it never gets to that. I'm not saying that he is going to get to that point, but he's got the makings of it right now because of his obsession. The fact that he's going after, he's following people on Twitter who simply like or comment or show any support to any of what I say or what anyone else who has a similar thought like I say. He's following them and he's stalking them. He's essentially stalking them now. And he's telling them, guess what? I'm following you now. It's like, that's creepy. Even if it's just Twitter. You're following people who disagree with you. You're telling them that you are. And then, oh my, it's insane. It is absolutely insane what's going on. And it's something that I really think could be concerning. It really could. Captain K-Man says, most people look for Rambo or Chuck Norris for protection. If I'm ever in need of help, I'm looking for Anna. Hey, I understand that, man. Alice Riley says, there's almost 200 people here. That is awesome. Hashtag Odin Army. Hashtag Odin Army. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thanks for being here. You're awesome. Captain Asshat says, Odin, Jeremy has time to plan things, but no time for the High Council. I know, right? That's like my favorite new meme going around with Jeremy is Jeremy has time for this, but not for the High Council. It's great. But again, what's the best thing about all of it is that he's got more time for the High Council now that he's not a part of the High Council than he did beforehand. It's awesome. It's hilarious. I love the level of trollery that's going on. Aiden Vickery says, is it fair to say Captain Marvel has gone from the face of the MCU going forward to the arse of the MCU going backwards? If we're to believe the rumors, then yes. But they are still rumors at this point, right? I think that, and here's the honest truth, I don't think Brie Larson's going to stay around. And this is just speculation on my part. I have no evidence to back this up. I could totally be wrong. I don't think Brie Larson's going to stick around the MCU very long. I think she's going to fill out her contract, maybe even try and get time off of it, but she's definitely going to at least fulfill her contract and then move on to something else. Because what is she? She is an indie actress, right? She likes those independent roles. That's what she's drawn to. And I think that now that she's taken in just how large the fandom is and also how critical the fandom has been of her, I think eventually that's going to drive her away. Oh dear Lord. Megazord Jeremy is in the chat. He says, I am Megazord Jeremy, most powerful Jeremy of all the Jeremys. I will step on all wokeness. I have the combined powers of all the Jeremys. But that means that you've got the combined power of proper Ginevra, proper Jeremy himself. And that to me makes everything fall apart. I could just poke you and you'd fall apart because of proper Ginevra. Stephanie B says, poops. Yes, they're so cute. Hyper says, now that Area 51 raid is over, let's anticipate the 2020 Antarctica Earth Flatters raid. Holy crap. I'm assuming every single one of you has seen the video of the guy on the newscast who was Naruto running behind the newscaster. That is, I think, that makes everything with the Area 51 raid worth it in my opinion, because now we've got that video, and that video is going to be immortalized for all time. Because of how amazing it is. He actually Naruto runned at Area 51. Oh my gosh. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. I could watch the video all day. It's so wonderful. It's great. It's going to make so many great memes, and I can't wait. Hammer says, in the beginning of The Force Awakens, Lor San Tekka should have told Poe, this will begin to make things wrong, when he handed him the map to Skywalker. Yeah, pretty much. Jeremy Swig says, if you do yoga, just keep your clothes on. Shivers. Jeremy Swiggs, don't think about me otherwise, man. Then we'll have a problem. We'll have a problem if you start to think of me in that way. Sporking News Podcast. I love all the support the Phantom Menace gives one another, even us little guys. Sporking News Podcast. I mean, that's what it's about. And that's why, it's really sad when people say, oh, they're so toxic, and oh, they only support people that super chat them. Only, let's see, 3 people? No, 4 people. 5 people if you count my donation. 5 people have chatted me, 5 people have super chat donated to me tonight. I've read 5 times as many comments without anyone having to pay a dime. I know there's other channels that only read super chats, but also that's because they have 800 more people than I do watching. So they physically can't do otherwise, right? And so it ticks me off when I hear people say those types of things, right? Because they have no idea. They have no idea what they're talking about. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and shout this guy out again, because he deserves to be shouted out every single stream. And that's my man Drunk 3PO. Drunk 3PO takes all of the money he gets from Patreon, most of the money he gets from Super Chats, and he gives it back to kids. He supports the downtrodden, the lowly. He is the true embodiment of a Christian man. And that dude, and I don't know what happened, but he mentioned not being on Twitter as much because apparently someone was going after his friends or his family. And I'm like, that's ridiculous, because he is probably the best dude, hands down, the best dude in the Phantom Menace. He may not be the most, I would say the nicest, in my opinion, is probably Jedi Bunny. Jedi Bunny is probably the sweetest member of the... I think all of us can agree Jedi Bunny is the sweetest member of the Phantom Menace. But I would say the one that has done some of the most good in the world is Junk 3PO. And that's just amazing to me. So huge shout out to you, Junk 3PO. I don't know if you're watching still. I don't know if you'll see this at all. But seriously, man, it's always something where it humbles me, because I'm I need to start doing more of what you're doing, And it's amazing. So Drunk 3PO, huge shout out to Drunk 3PO. He is freaking awesome. Please, Valks, spam that link to his channel and to his Patreon, because his Patreon is not just to give him money, it's to help him it's to support the work that he's doing to help kids around the world. Like, I love Drunk Man. That dude is solid. I will go to bat for that guy any day of the week. All right. Hyperen. Let me get off the Drunk 3PO love train, even though I could go on that all night. Hyperen X13 says, I heard that the Joker movie is going to be banned at the Aurora Theater in Colorado because of the shooting incident back during the Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, it is. Do they have a right to do it? Yeah. Obviously, it's a private theater. They can do that if they wish. However, I think it's sending the wrong message, to be perfectly honest. I don't support that. I don't support it because what you're doing is you are acting out of fear. And when you act out of fear, you give that person even more power. You show that you are willing to bow to those that will do violence and harm against you, and that gives them more power. If you want to motivate people to act like that in the future, if you want to motivate people to copycat, that's what you do. You give them power. That's why don't give them the power. Don't say their name in public. News media. Don't flash their name every 5 seconds and talk about them nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for an entire news cycle. Don't do that. That's what they want. That's what gives them power. So for this theater, for the Aurora Theater, they have every right. They have every right to not show the movie. And if it's out of respect for the families, and if it's out of request for the families who lost loved ones, hey, I can at least respect that. But I don't agree with it. I can respect you, but I don't have to agree with you. And I think that what they're doing is they're giving more power to the event that happened. And I think that is such a negative thing. I really do. Let's see. Laura says, like I said on Twitter, perhaps Lucas is writing a book and Iger wanted to tell the story first. It could be, Laura. And again, if he does, if he comes out, if George Lucas comes out and writes a book and he does a tell-all about his experiences with the entire deal, and he mentions some aspects of his stories that he can talk about, as I said, that would be a damn interesting read at the very least. Captain Assad says, Odin, I blame the boomers who don't understand video games. People tell me to quit playing video games while they sit and watch TV all day. At least video games require attention and reflexes. Yeah. And that's why I would say with video games, I would never ban video games because I think that video games in and of themselves, I tell this to my students, I ask them the rhetorical question, are video games inherently morally wrong? And the obvious answer is no, they're not. They're not morally wrong. But if you allow the video games, just like with anything, right? Our phones, TV, movies, like anything, right? YouTube for some, Twitter for some, right? If you allow it to become your idol, if you spend more time doing that than other important things, that is when it can become a problem. That is when it can become an addiction. And if it becomes an addiction, and many things can be an addiction, and in fact, just recently they've said that you can have a screen addiction, and I believe it because if you walk around these days and you see kids, they are tied to their phones. I have kids in class. They can't be on their phone in class, but as soon as the bell rings, it's like they're trained. Boom, immediately the phone goes back out so that way they can Snapchat and do whatever. It is an addiction. And when it becomes an addiction, that's when it becomes a problem because it's an addiction, not because again, there's nothing inherently evil or wrong with a phone, or with a Switch, or with a PlayStation 4, or with an Xbox One. There's nothing inherently wrong with those things. But when this becomes more important, especially than him, that's, I think, when it becomes the biggest problem. Again, that's at least my own personal thought. At least more important things, that's for sure. Laura says, Lucas White Slaver comment came after he saw The Force Awakens. Yeah, seriously. It's just ridiculous. All right, chat jumped on me again. Let us see whether we are here. In the chat. So the last one I read was from Laura. All right, looks like the chat jumped on me again. So we're at 8:10 in the chat. It's 8:24. I'm 14 minutes behind in the YouTube chat. So I'm not skipping your comments over on YouTube. I'm just 14 minutes behind. Muffy Puff. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube channel. Captain Gentry says, yeah, I agree. I can see why they're not showing it, but I think they're setting it a very bad example. I do. Yeah, Captain Gentry, again, I can respect them for their choice, but I don't agree with it. I'm right there with you. And he also says, I pray this doesn't happen again, but if it does, that'd make it too easy for other cinemas to pick and choose what they show. Absolutely. That's the direction we're going in. We're going into an era where we're going to become so protective that we're going to make things that much worse. Because if you give evil power, If you give evil beings, evil entities, evil thoughts power, you're giving them power. And if they gain in that power and they gain in that strength, it's going to cause them to do so much more. Captain K-Man says, I can't tell you how many times I've had people almost run into me while walking because people there are looking down at their phones. You're damn right. And also the fact that we live in a world now where I think in some places they might have it, they're at least talking about it. They want to put lights down on the sidewalk because people aren't looking up to see whether the light is green or red. They want to put lights down on the sidewalk so they don't have to lift up their heads. If that happens, or if that's suggested, or if that's recommended in your city or your state, please go ahead and just like metaphorically slap the crap out of whoever recommends it. Do like the like just send them the image of the Batman slap of Robin, right? That's like such a great meme. That's what I would do. That's like in my head. It's like, no, you don't do that, right? I see people are leaving. I'm wondering if someone just started live streaming or not. It happens. Thank you for everyone that is still here, though. Again, I appreciate it. It's been a great stream, so I'm having a lot of fun. Mayor Jeremy says, in your opinion, what's better, Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones? Phantom Menace. And I'll tell you the reason why. Attack of the Clones, in my opinion, might be one of the worst as far as dialogue and acting. The dialogue and acting is very, 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 very bad. Again, I'm not saying that the Phantom Menace is that much better as far as everything else, but it does have Liam Neeson in it. So it kind of raises the acting chops a little bit. Micah Martinez says, I can't wait to see you and Flick Pick collab again. It should be fun. I can't wait too. I'm very excited for it. Very excited for it because I'm sure we're going to do another video outside the theater after we watch it. Zinewater says, the Jendi Tartakovsky Clone Wars was 2D animated shorts. Oh, then I don't think I've seen it. Super says, also, since we came to the revelation a few months ago, it shall be noted that before Commissioner Gordon went gray, I believe he was a redhead, but that's not why I don't like the casting. Okay, I got you. And again, I respect anyone if you like or don't like the casting choice. I'm kind of in that place where I like the actor, and that's pretty much all I can say about it at this point. That's where I am right now. Serbian Terminator says, with Rambo back, hopefully no Commando remake. Dear Lord, yeah, stop with the remakes, please. Jeremy Swig says, I enjoyed Angry Anna. It's been a long time since we've had a really good Anna rant. It has been. She's calmed down a little bit, it seems, but I think that's now changed with recent. Ryan Summers says, I do feel for George, but if he wanted the sequels done right, then he should have done them himself. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he shouldn't have sold it, but if you were George Lucas, if you were someone that owned a property and you were offered a lot of money and you were told by those people offering you the money that they would respect your work and your universe and that you would still be utilized and that you would still be listened to and that we're going to take care of it. And don't worry, you're leaving it in good hands, George. I don't know. I can see why he would do that, right? I can see why he would do that. Jay Stowe says, if they do a sequel to Alita, do you think they should try for a trilogy or more with that to stop with a sequel? Jay Stowe, it really depends on what they do with the second movie, right? It depends on what they do with it. I mean, obviously you go to the manga. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the manga, but I know that the manga goes on for a bit, so they have the material to make as many movies as they want, really. I just want them to make as many as are needed and not as many as they want, right? Make as many as are needed, because then it's going to be a good story with a good ending. If you make as many as you want, that is what's going to lead to problems, right? And that's oftentimes what happens. They make all the movies they want, and then they start to crap out. Laura says, it is the quiet ones who are scary. That's a great point. That's a great point. Jeremy Swig says, Jeremy has time for his right hand, but not for the High Council. I think Stephanie B gets that reference from that live stream. Okay. I'm thinking of something else. Hybrid says, if the Antarctic Earth Flatters want to top their Naruto run, they will need to homage Aquaman rising up to the surface or something. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? We're back up to 205. Oh, what's going on? How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Yeah, seriously. Hail to the Jedi Bunny. Jedi Bunny is awesome. Jedi Bunny is great. Tina says, we're already on dropping those links. Thank you so much, Tina. You're awesome. I knew that y'all would. CAF Productions coming to a stream. What is going on? CAF Productions, man. CAF Productions says, video games, oh dear, Anna hates video games. All right, chat jumped on me. Let us see where we are in the chat. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the stream if you are just joining. If you're just joining us, drop the like button, please. Simple request from a civil man. Yeah, I know. I stole that from Jeremy. It's okay. I'll credit him. Megazord Jeremy says, you give good speeches. I'm considering changing my name to Megazord Odin, but there aren't many Odin accounts to merge together to form Megazord Odin. That's true. There are not many alternate Odin accounts. There have been Odin accounts. There was a sleepy Odin account, like a tired Odin account, that just came and said, man, I'm so tired. Jeremy overworks me so much. I'm so tired. But that account's kind of been dead for a while. And then one of my favorites there were like 3 different accounts that all came up when Odin from the Streets came out. So there's Odin from the Streets, there's 8 Mile Odin, and a bunch of other examples of that. So Megazord Jeremy, if you want to find some more accounts, then go right ahead. Captain Assad says, Odin smartphones are evil. They can be. They aren't themselves, but if they become the object of your obsession, they can be. Tina says, we went through this ban video games propaganda back in the 90s, along with the music bans and the parental block of televisions. Tipper Gore was pushing that stuff. It's like I'm going full circle. Yeah, seriously, it's amazing how something that we fell away from so long ago are now all coming back. It really is interesting that these things work in this cycle the way they do. And yeah, I think it's interesting that we're going now into people who are going to try and push for bans. And it's not just going to be about guns. It's going to be about video games too, and television and movies. It's going to get bad, I fear, before it gets better. However, Next 13 says, credit to Super Anime Gamer who gave an even better idea than I did. If they want to top the Naruto run, they got to pay homage to David Hasselhoff swimming from the SpongeBob movie. Oh my God, Hyperen. Oh, that's great. Soul Assassin says, the screen addiction is true. I've seen people run into walls or fall flat down while looking at their phone screens. Yeah, it's true. It's sad, but it is true. And it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe that we're living in this world now. Orville Nation, thank you for the $5 super chat. Orville Nation says, poor George was betrayed on many different levels, especially by a person he mentioned and trusted, Kathleen Kennedy. Exactly. You know, again, he was told, hey, we're going to give you all this money, but don't worry. It's not just the money you're getting. It's safe. It's peace of mind. We're going to take your gift and we're going to treat it well. We're going to respect you. We respect you. You're awesome. And then Bob Iger's like, wait, you have stories? Well, you have 3 stories. You have another trilogy that you were going to do. Hey, let's hear them. Hey, we really like those stories. We really like them. You know what? Can we buy them from you? Again, we're not going to confirm. You know, things can change. You know how things go, right, George? Things can change a little bit. You don't mind a few changes, and it's like, maybe, we'll come back to you, right? And like, we'll buy them off your hands, though, right? Because we like you a lot. We like these stories a lot. Hey, George, we like these stories a lot. But guess what? We might do them. We'll probably. Hey, George, we'll probably do them, right? But go ahead and sell them to us. And then they never use them. And then they like, yeah, screw you, George. We're doing our own thing, and now we own your stories. Thank you for selling everything you own, not just the IP, but also now the last stories that you had. God, it's downright evil. Orange Chat Review says, I would rather my child vent their more violent urges in video games than in real life. My thoughts are they can be an outlet at times. No, they can be. As I said before, the games themselves are not evil. The games themselves are not wrong. And kids tend not to be violent from video games. It's the addiction that causes the problem, right? I mean, that's why when you have people rage quit, sometimes it can be funny, but there's videos out there that are scary to see what kids and young adults can become when they are so obsessed. Again, it's not the game, it's the obsession, it's the addiction. And anyone that's ever been addicted to anything, and I'm sure many of us in the chat have been addicted to something in our life, you know that if you try and go cold turkey, or if you try and just stop altogether, or if you try and do anything to get in the way of someone's addiction, it's bad news. It is bad news. Hardwick Bentho says, I suspect that like Perlmutter protected the MCU from going woke until he was ousted from his leadership position. Vanity Fair also published an article that suggested the same idea. That is interesting. Alex McCarthy's still here. Frank says, very great stream and tons of fun. Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate it, man. CAF Production says, Odin has time to talk about the evils of addiction, but not for the High Council. Oh, wait, wrong person. Yeah. If they invite me on, I'll go on, but that's great. Odin has time to talk about the evils of addiction. Y'all are the best. I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. Jumping over just to D-Live for a second. Captain K-Man says, I can't tell you how many times I've had people almost run into me who walking because they had their down look on their phone. Captain Gentry says, I saw some pics a guy took where all he did was remove people's phones. It was haunting seeing people stare at nothing and ignore each other. That is pretty damn scary. That is. And he also says, George should have made them, but with the crap he got after the prequels, I can totally understand why he didn't. Yeah, and Captain Gentry, I think you're onto something too, is because it's not just that he loved the franchise, right? But also the way that many fans reacted after the prequels. And again, I think the fans were right to be critical. I think there's a lot to be critical of. But obviously he took that to heart. You know, he was so used to the love and admiration that he got from the originals that he thought he would get some of the same, saying, hey, if you like that, let me go into even more new directions. And again, I think there were a lot of faults with it, with the dialogue especially, and some of the acting and some of those choices. But overall, I think that, yeah, I think that's a good point. And then Kaz Jimmy, thank you for the 2 lemons over there. I appreciate it, man. Ryan Summers over on YouTube says, Rey is discovered to be a clone or a fembot. What do you think of her official designation will be SJW1128, to Mary Sue for you, or woke 3PO? A mixture of all three. Holy crap, we've got 220 people watching over on YouTube. Smash that like button, please. Thank you so much. Damn, I don't know what's going on tonight. Make me feel like something's going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. Whoever's sending people my way, thank you. And thank you so much for being here, seriously. I have fun. This is great. Let's see. HyperNex13. Flickpick is a tank. Is he bigger than Bane in person? If not, that's okay. He's still a big guy for you. He's not as big as he once was. There was a time when he was working out all the time, and he's talked about this too. He's still big. You know, he's still jacked. He is still jacked. He's got the pythons and everything, but he's not as big as he was like 5 or 6 years ago. Super says, dude, really? Technology addictions are getting scary. Saw an article that people are actually forming excess bits of bone cartilage at the skull base to accommodate for looking down. Yeah. And that's something that could eventually become a part of evolution. I don't know about that. I don't know if that'd be a good thing. Spoiler alert, it's not a good thing. All right. Chat jumped on me once again, so I'm getting back to it. Let's see. We're at 8:29 in the chat. It's 8:37. I'm still 8 minutes behind. Pin drop. Been a long time, Pin drop. How's it going? It says, first they said they were going against George to make something for the fans. Then Rian Johnson said, forget about the fans. We have to make whatever movie we want. F the fans. Exactly, right? They said, George, we'll take care of you. We love you. We respect you. And then they said, screw you, George. We're going to do our own thing. We don't need you anymore. We own your stories now. Ha ha. Again, evil Mandark laugh. Think of that. Any Dexter's Laboratory fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, exactly right. Rian Johnson came in and said, we need to be able to do our own story. I'm not making my story for the fans. I'm making my story for myself. It's like, okay, Ryan, please continue. Have that trilogy. Howard Benther says, why do you think it is that someone who has been working with George Lucas as long as Kathleen Kennedy has so little respect for his creations? She was with him almost from the beginning. That's a great point. I think it has more to do with the fact that she just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand it because she is not a creator. She's a producer. She's good with money, or at least she has been good with money in the past. Again, I think that we can at least give her that much. It might not be much, but we can at least give her that much, right? And it comes down to that being the case, that she is just not a creator. And so when she says, we're going to respect you, we're going to do justice by you, in her mind, I think she still thinks that she is doing that. She still thinks that she is doing right by George. But I think Bob Iger is the one that had the, pulling the strings in the background saying, no, we're just going to own everything and go in our own direction with it instead, right? So it is interesting. Hammer says, Drunk 3BO and Odin represent the best of the Phantom Menace. Hail, my brothers. Well, Hammer, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Rick Targaryen says, the loud ones are just as scary. Yes. Flick Therapy says, have you heard Lucas's idea for the sequel trilogy? They are garbage. More focus on midichlorians and the wills. Thank the Lord he's sold. And then Flick Therapy. Again, I understand why people would be critical of those basic ideas, but we don't know exactly where he was going. For all we know, it could have been the most brilliant. We could have been like, midichlorians, the wills, and then he writes a brilliant story. As I said, if I think he had someone else writing dialogue and someone else directing it, I think we would step back and say, holy crap, especially in comparison to the crap we're getting now. I'll take a story about the will. I'll take a story. I remember doing this. I'll take a story about Bob the midichlorian and his wife Nancy over anything that I remember a long time ago, any OG people in here, any OG Asgardians in here will remember when we had all the stories about Bob the midichlorian and his wife Nancy. I still want to make a shirt. Maybe I'll have to get Freya. I'll have to get Freya to make a design for that, because that would be a great shirt. Bob the midichlorian. Laura, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, did it all for the cookies. Thanks for the fun stream. Well, Laura, thank you so much. Enjoy those cookies. Nom, nom, nom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jeremy Swig says, you don't have to think of something else. It's exactly what you're thinking. It's Jeremy. Are you really surprised? No, to be honest, why should I be? Why shouldn't I be surprised at this point? Let's see. Signwater says, you're right about shows being as long as they should be. Lots of TV shows stay on way too long. Once Upon a Time wrapped up all their storylines halfway through season 3. Yeah, and then we got the last season and it sucked. I remember watching the first episode of the last season. I think it was the last, or maybe it was either the last or second last season. And it went in a completely opposite direction of what the show had been up to that point, and it sucked. And I gave up. I was like, I've never really given up on a show before. And that's one of the few shows that I can say, honestly, that I gave completely up on. No shame about that. Stonemy says, he said just that. His right hand, it was... Oh, yeah, seriously. Jeremy, come on, man. Jeremy, we need to be better than that. Jeremy, you're so toxic. Jeremy, be better than that. Hybrid says, you're up there with Theoden and Aragorn when it comes to speeches. The King Odin knows the way. I know the way. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope I don't come across as Kyle from like a Kyle speech from South Park. Megazord says, "Sing the Touch" by Stan Bush. Megazord Jeremy commands it. No, you can't. You cannot command me. Micah Wood says, the faithlessness and lack of patriotism today is disheartening, even non-religious. Just in oneself or anything historically, if you insulted your country, it would have been treasonous. Yeah, I mean, I think that just general respect is something that's been lost. I think general respect is something that's been lost in our culture. Tired Odin is back. Tired Odin. You say his name and he returns. Tired Odin says, I am not dead. I am just so tired and been trying to sleep. Tired Odin is back in the chat. Megazord Jeremy says, we should ban the people who like to ban that way. No one can ban anything because the people who want bans would be banned themselves before they can ban even an ant. The circle logic in there is perfection. Let's ban those who want to ban things because then they'll be banned from banning things because they want to ban things. Yes. Yes. Matthew Goddess says, do you think Disney could create goodwill with the fans by releasing the theatrical original trilogy on like 4K? Again, this much. Because at this point, we've had the despecialized editions for years now, and those editions are very good. And so all that we would see is, okay, it's an olive branch, but they don't mean it. It would be an olive branch and they would be like, yeah, we're giving this to you because we want you back, but we're not going to give you the things that you really want, right? We're not going to give you actual good original stories. So I don't think it would be enough. Hara Bentho says, seduction of the innocent is happening all over again. Political correctness is bringing about a new breed of puritanism, and the media is paranoid about Russia. What decade is this? Seriously, sometimes it feels like the 1980s. Sometimes it feels like the 1800s. Aaron C. says, who will explain Star Wars to us? I feel lost. Yeah, seriously. Megazord Jeremy says, Megazord Jeremy was addicted to cold turkey. God, I love my cold turkey meat. What? That's great. Tina says, Flick Therapy has left the chat, accusing you of spreading fake news about Disney and Lucas. 70B wished him well. What? Really? Oh, man. Seriously? What false information am I spreading, Flick Therapy? I mean, I'm assuming that you might still be watching. Thank you, Valkyrie, for disposing of the heathen amongst us. But dear Lord, man, I'm not spreading any fake news. Everything that I said that is true, I say this is true, or here's the source. Anything that's speculation, I say here's what I think, here's what I feel, here's how I speculate. Right? I never claim to have information that I don't have. And if you think that I do, you're not paying attention. That sounds like a you problem. Flick Therapy, that sounds like a you problem. I wonder if you're friends with what's his name? Yeah, that's all he's been known as the channel. It's just, well, what's his name? Jeremy Swig says we need an evil Dragon Zord Jeremy to take on Megazord. Yes, let us get a giant fight going on in the chat amongst the Megazords. Oh man, oh man. All right. Let us see. Where are we in the chats? Where are we in the chats? There we are. Micah Martinez says, it was confirmed that Phoenix's Joker will not cross over with Robert Pattinson's Batman, which I'm kind of mixed on, but at the same time, this movie has been marketed as a standalone film. It has been. It's been marketed as such. Many of us have not bought it because we think if it's good, it should get another movie. And I'm the same way. If this movie's great, hey, make another one, right? We don't have enough of these like amazing movies with amazing cast nowadays. But if it is a one-off, that could be fine too. We don't have enough of those either. Remember, we were talking about this with Princess Bride the other day, that's a film that does not need to be remade. It does not need a sequel. It does not need a prequel. It is fine just as is. Maybe Joker can be that for us, and I hope it is. I think it could be. Tina says, I told him if he wanted Odin to see his comments, but I guess he wanted immediate attention. He was just typing out comments, the enter only to... Again, I even read his comment, and I even addressed it. Yeah, it sounds like to me, Tina, that he was someone that has never watched the channel before, doesn't know that I read every single comment that's addressed to me, and that means that it's going to take time. There's 218 people watching right now. We've been fluctuating between 150 and 220. So that's a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that have a lot to say about this subject specifically, because a lot of people in this chat love George Lucas, love the original trilogy. And so a lot of people are going to leave comments. And that's not just me saying that. It's just true. And if you look at this entire stream, I'm reading through every single comment that is highlighted orange for me. And I don't... Anyway, Megazord Jeremy says, have you ever listened to the band Dragon Force? I've heard of it. I've never actually seen it myself. Bruce says, in the Disney South Park episode, I now wish that the Chinese had gotten a hold of Star Wars instead of Disney. Yes. Eric Blakey says, ha ha, dangly pots. Howard Bentho says, would you like to see a Star Wars movie directed by Sam Raimi? Have you ever seen a grown man naked? That's my response. I've seen Airplane now. I saw that about a month ago with Freya, and it was great. I like Sam Raimi. I don't know if he's right for Star Wars, but hey, he could be fine. Sierra Production says, but Kathy was the producer of so many Spielberg movies. Yeah, she did a great job bringing coffee to him. Frank remembers the old days for sure. Jumping over to D-Live for a second. Captain Gentry says there's a video called How Star Wars Was Saved in the Edit. Apparently it's quite the eye-opener. Hey, that sounds interesting. And he also says, I'd buy a Bob the Midichlorian t-shirt. Nice. I'll have to try and suggest that to Freya and see if she'll jump on that, because that'd be great. Let's see. Laura says, it was probably Ruthie's tweet. She has a butt ton of followers. She does. That's very true. That is very true. That makes a lot of sense. So thank you, Ruthie. Thank you so much for shouting out the channel and for shouting out the stream. Hardware Bentho says, I think George Lucas started off thinking of the Force as more mystical, but later liked the idea of exploring it in detail as a science fiction concept. I actually like that. I like that too. Yeah, I like that too a lot. And as I said before, I think that, hey, for all we know, the midichlorian storyline could have been really good. It sounds stupid at first, but you know what? There's a lot of things that have sounded really stupid that, if they're done right, they can work out. Zinewater says, Once Upon a Time really should have just done spin-offs or something. The setting was fantastic. I agree. I liked that show. It was very solid. Nickel Noodle says, The Last Midichlorian, directed by Ryan Johnson. Hyphen 613, Lord of Odin's Return of the Tired Odin. Jay Stowe says, the reboot of What About Bob? What About Bob the Midichlorian? Yes, Jay Stowe. Once I have What About Bob now. Thanks again. Thanks again for sending it, my boy Bruce. But yeah, Bob the Midichlorian. That'd be great. Captain Asshat, Odin, have your students go see Joker and have them write a 3-page paper describing how society hates white men doubled spaced, of course. No. If any students are watching that, please do not suggest that in class, because it's not going to happen. Megazord Jeremy says, we should send SJWs overseas to developing countries to help build houses there. That way they'll learn how good they have it in here in the West. Enough said. Hey, that's a great point. Yeah. It's amazing how from their ivory towers, they can, pontificate and push all of these agendas without any question about it, but they're ones that probably have no idea what's actually going on in the world. That's why anytime people complain about, oh my gosh, women's rights, go to a country where women are actually treated as second-class citizens, where they don't have the right to vote, where they just got the right to drive last year. They're so progressive. Really? That's what you're going to say is progressive when there's so many things that they still can't do? Like, oh my goodness. It's like, again, if you're really passionate about it, go push for it in places that need to hear the message. Because things are pretty good for a lot of people here. It's not perfect for everyone. We can do better. But it's compared to everything else in the world, night and day. Night and day. And I stand by that. All right, let's see. Where is the chat? All right. Zinewater says, wish we had much less technology than we do, like the 80s, but then I wouldn't have this stream, so it's frustrating. Yeah, me too. There's times that I want to use I actually am very tempted at some point to invest in, I say invest, they're so cheap, in a dumb phone. And every now and then, detox, right? Like go a day where I just have a dumb phone, where all I can do is get text and calls. That way, I'm not checking Twitter. I'm not getting notifications from the YouTube channel. I'm not getting anything, right? Just to try it out. I think that's healthy, to be honest. I think that all of us, especially if we know we use our phones a lot, and I know that especially when I'm not working or when I have a break at school, I can sometimes be on my phone a lot. I love YouTube, obviously. I mean, I love watching YouTube, right? I hate YouTube as an entity, right? Don't get me wrong. YouTube sucks. YouTube sucks. However, I do like watching, YouTube videos, right? I have a lot of people that I follow on YouTube. I like watching a lot of content. I've been watching a lot of gaming content lately because I'm getting, supposedly, allegedly, because I'm not supposed to know technically, but I do know. So it's kind of this weird thing. I'm getting a Switch for my birthday because my birthday's in 4 days. 4 days until Odin birthday. The big 3-1, the big 31. And everyone's in chat's going to be like, oh my gosh, I thought you were in your 40s. That's the best thing ever when students to go, oh my, I had a student who in all seriousness went, what? I thought you were 40, like not trying to joke, being serious. And I was like, yep, I know I don't look great for my age, but I appreciate it nonetheless. But anyway, Zion, I'm right there with you, though, about technology. Captain Assad says, Odin, stop lying about movie earnings from anime girl movies. Ryan Summers says, Odin, what do you call 1,000 SJWs on the bottom of the ocean? No, Ryan Summers. No, I will not say that. I don't think anyone should be hurt. I know you didn't mean it that way. But in today's day and age, me just reading that comment wouldn't be good for me. Super says, I've been with you since 500 subs. I don't remember Bob the Midichlorian. Explain. That's right, Super. You have been around for a long time, too. So basically, in my videos, when the story... So there was a story that came out about how there was going to be... One of the ideas that George Lucas had was about writing in midichlorians. And about how he was going to, essentially go diving deep into it about them actually being entities, right? Which seemed to indicate that they would have some type of sentience to them. And so I made fun of that idea because I was like, that's kind of a silly idea. And so it's like, what are they going to have, like Bob the Midichlorian coming home from work saying, hey, Nancy, I'm home from work. I'm a midichlorian. Let's find out more about the midichlorian. Like, that was where I ended up going with it. So, but yeah, that was early on. I mean, I know I did it in some videos, and I'm sure I said it in some live streams too. Seventy says, he left on his own. I told him bye and hope he can come back. Okay, Steph. Okay. Gotcha. Harbender says, have you seen Oz the Great and Powerful? And if so, what are your thoughts about it? I have seen it. Dear Lord, hot mess. It is a hot mess of a film. Has a lot of potential. I like the cast overall. The worst part about it, the Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch. Holy crap. That whole story arc is stupid. And her being, oh my God, you know what? The more I think about it, the more I hate it. Because there's some really cool things. There's some really cool effects. But I overall hate it because mostly of the Wicked Witch. Just not good. Not good. Tired Odin says, Odin has time for sleep, but not for eating chicken at Popeyes and at Chewy's. Tired Odin. That's one of my OGs right there. I remember when I said, once we reach, that may have been back when we reached 5,000 subs. I was like, I'm going to go to a Popeyes in my Wookiee onesie and eat some chicken. And the only reason why I didn't is because Freya told me not to. And as you all know, when you get married, you essentially get whipped. Anyone married will probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. There are certain things that you can't do. And that was one thing I was not willing to cross Freya on. No question about it. I was fully committed to do it. I wanted to do it. But Freya was like, no, you're not. Freya was like, no, you're not. Oh, it's great. It's great. Ivernex13 says, this might sound like a dumb question, but in the Lord of the Rings movies, what did you think of any of the regions and people represented in the real world? For example, I thought Rohirrim were like Vikings. So on. This might sound weird, but dumb question, but in Lord of the Rings movies, what did you think of any of regions of people represented in the real world? I never really thought about it because in my mind, it was completely fantasy. So I kept it in the fantasy realm. Zion Water says, have you ever been in a Turkish prison? I like how two people read. Jeremy Swiggs and Zion Water said that at the same exact time. Ever seen a grown man naked? Have you ever been to a Turkish prison? It's so great. Tina says, and stop with Bob the Midichlorian talk. Picked a bad night to quit cocaine. Yes. I picked a bad night to quit cocaine. CW Trixie, and we're to save Star Wars 9. Instead of Palpatine returning, it turns out Master Betty was behind it all along. I am a magician. If no one knows what that's all about, if you've never seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist, do yourself a favor and watch it. I am a magician. Your tunic is now red. Tiger, birdie, Master Betty. Oh, that brings me back. Michael Martinez says, how would you feel if Christopher Nolan directed a Star Wars film? I don't think he'll do it, but it would be interesting to see it nonetheless. I think it'd be great. It would be one of the most realistic takes of Star Wars, and I would love it. 70B, thanks for letting them know how to get in contact with me. Hiram says, apologies if I made comparison despite being just a fantasy story. No harm or bad intention, just something interesting I thought of. No problem at all. No problem at all, man. Megazord Jeremy says, Kathleen Kennedy is an idiot. Everyone knows the Force is Jeremy Grrr. Ultimate TV 9000. If Star Wars is owned by Disney, does that mean the Earth is flat? Yes. You that logic is so sound, Ultimate TV 9000. Jeremy Swiggs, I told Steph this, but I want an episode of Ed and Eddie where they deal with Pennywise. Oh my God. And Ed and Eddie crossover. Oh, I'd be down for that. Larry says, we need an R2-D2 C-3PO buddy movie, a buddy cop film. We need a C-3PO and R2-D2 buddy cop film. I would be down for that. That could be a lot of fun. Let us see here. Head back over to D-Lab for a second. Captain Will Gentry says, it's like that Swedish girl lecturing us on climate. Girl, we're doing just fine. Go lecture the Chinese and Indians if you want change because they cause most pollution. It's already been shown that if America did the changes that these people want to do tomorrow and we did it all, it would have almost no impact because we are not the main producer of these things that cause it, right? He also says, she made me roll my eyes so many times I got a headache, and I'm someone who believes in climate change. Shaking my head. Well, I mean, it's not even a thing about believing, right? I mean, the science is pretty clear on it. It's the alarmism, and it's what to do about it, and it's what it means, and how much time, etc. Those are where we find, that's where the debate really is, right? We know the climate is changing constantly, right? I mean, just go ahead and look to where you're living right now. I know that right now in Tennessee, normally in October, it's cool, and right now it's about 10 degrees hotter. Right? So obviously the climate is changing. Now we can look back to say, oh, the climate's always been changing, etc. But I think that a lot of us can say, okay, you know what? There are certain things that we're doing in this world that we could probably do better, right? I think all of us can agree that there's things we can do better, right? The question is, do you mandate it by government, which most of us would say probably not. because I think most people here are more independent-minded, small government-minded, right? Not a gigantic, if we have a problem with corporations having so much power, most of us then probably have issues with governments having too much power too, right? I would imagine. But yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from, man. Let's see here. Captain Gentry says, Airplane is literally the GOAT of a parody movie, in my opinion. Is the greatest of all time of parody movies, in my opinion. I think you're right. Airplane is a wonderful. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Damn freaking right. Gosh, I'm so glad I was finally introduced to that movie. So glad. Let's see. Laura says, imagine how silly Flash Gordon sounded. Flash Gordon's alive. That's great. All right, let's see. Where are we in the chat? We're going long tonight. Didn't have a stream last night. Freya's not going to bed just yet, so I can go on for another 10 minutes. Maybe another 10 minutes, because then I need to go to bed. All right, let's see. Frank in the clan says, I was on with Doomcock Patreon stream and mentioned tonight's stream. Well, thank you, Frank. Well, maybe that's the reason why people came over. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Megazord Jeremy says, you should get your students to write about the importance of Jeremys and why they help society evolve. I don't even think they know who Jeremy is. They only watch my streams every now and then anyway. Captain Assat says, women are second. So any Middle Eastern, women are second class. So any Middle Eastern Islamic society, right? Not all, but I would say if it's a government run theocracy, then most of them tend to be. Blake Hammond says, SJWs think actually, you know what? To be honest, I think the High Council is starting soon. So actually, I'm gonna have to start wrapping this up. Blake Hammond, SJWs think capitalism has failed them, but in reality, they failed it by being losers living in their parents' basement with a useless liberal arts degree and a $100,000 debt. Some people would think that for sure. Pontificate, says Stephanie B. Bruce says, dumb phone is what I use, and my wife and I share it. We look forward while walking too. I think that there's probably a reason why. Jeremy Swig says, oh, baby Odin's growing up. I know. Zinewater says, I'm so sorry. I get students to refuse to believe I'm 34. No, you're 27. Oh, baby face. Let's see. Alex McCarthy says, I'm still here. Sorry, not chatty. It is fun of spinal stenosis. I'm so sorry to hear that. Kevin Assad says, Odin, make sure your wife gets the Switch with the upgraded battery life. Also, get a PS4. I can't get a PS4. Again, already asking for enough with that anyway. And yes, I made sure that she got the right one. Megazord Jeremy says, you should get Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for Nintendo Switch. Megazord Jeremy commends it and have fun or be stepped on. I hear it's a fun game. I hear it's a really fun game. Harik Bentho says, did you hear about those signs saying Islam is right about women that some people have put up? Lefties get mad when they see it, but can't explain what part they're getting mad about. No, they can't, because they have to admit their own hypocrisy. It's truly amazing, because they have to be completely pro-Islam. They can't be critical of Islam at all. But at the same time, too, they have to be pro-women. So they can't cross those lines, right? They can't cross those boundaries. It's hilarious to see that. Tina, thank you for letting them know. Cia Production says, Odin has time to toss his Captain Marvel Blu-ray, but not time for a Steelbook giveaway. Yeah, again, the reason why I can't do a giveaway tonight is just because the funds have run low. I did 2 giveaways of the 4K edition of Rambo, and then 2 giveaways of the John Wick Chapter 3 giveaway. John Wick Chapter 3 4K. So I've kind of run out of funds. Let's see. Mikey Wood says, you're going to take a soy open mouth pick with your Switch for EVS. Then have Jeremy not understand why EVS is saying it's soy. I think EVS is insulting Nintendo. # cancel Jeremy. Filmwall says, wouldn't introducing the Wills into the movies open up the series to other stories? The Skywalker saga is one story in the Journal of the Wills. No, as I said before, Filmwall, I think that it's fun to make. It's like fun to make fun of, I guess you could say. But honestly, I'm interested. I'm genuinely interested to see what the story would be about, because the story could be good. The story absolutely could be good. And that's why I'm much more open to that than I am to the current state of Star Wars. That's for sure. JP Kotrokis says, I thought you were in your 40s too. Also, screw digital gaming. Get into Warhammer 40K. The Imperium is space Catholics. You'd love it. Really? I've never heard of this. Warhammer. Interesting. I thought I was in my 40s. Damn you. Megazord Jeremy says, evil Dragon Zord Jeremy has nothing on me. We'll fight for a while, then one of us will scream, Martha, and we'll end up being friends. Oh, BVS. Soul Assassin says, my brother's married and I have an app that does the whipping noise. So every time he does something for her, I play it to the amusement of everyone but him. Of course, yeah, because we can't admit to the fact. Phil Mall says, wouldn't introducing the... Okay, got that one already. Dude, again, if you're new to the chat, you don't have to post something multiple times. I'll let you know if chats are ever skipped. I'm 8:56 in the chat. I'm 10 minutes behind in the chat, everybody. So just don't double post, please. Zymar says, do you like the film about gladiators? I like Gladiator. Frank says, I picked a bad week to stop sniffing glue. Blake Hemlow, please do a video of going to Popeyes with eating chicken in your Wookiee pajamas and we can make memes about it. I know you can. Freya will not allow me. Michael Martinez says, I would love for Nolan to direct Star Wars, but I'm afraid Kathleen Kennedy will get her dirty hands on it. Yep, me too. That's why a lot of what we say is like, as long as Kathleen Kennedy is no longer a part of the discussion. That's where we are with that. Super says, it's Ed, Edd and Eddy sounds awesome. It and Ed, Edd and Eddy sounds awesome, but an It and Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy crossover would be best. Ooh, I've seen a couple of these things. Frank says, High Council just started. That's what I assume was going on. So we're going to be wrapping things up, everybody. Serbian Terminator says, do you like Johnny Depp as an actor and as a person? I like him as an actor. I think he's made a lot of bad choices acting recently, and I think that he's done a lot of questionable things in his personal life. Tina, thanks for letting him know. Megazord Jeremy says, we should offer all the SJWs Klondike bars, then use it to lure them to a deserted island, then leave them there to develop their own culture so that leave ours alone. I'm okay with that. JJ says, Hail Odin. Streamlabs was being greedy, so sent you a little something to PayPal. Directly, allegedly speaking. Really? I will check. I thought I saw an email. But let me see. What did JJ send? JJ's been very generous with the channel. Oh, holy crap. Dude. Thank you for the $250. He says, Hail Odin. I'm not sure if you are doing a birthday stream, but I wanted to give you an early gift and wish you a happy birthday. I heard you may need games and accessories, allegedly speaking, so hope this helps you if you go that route. Enjoy. Thank you so much, JJ. Oh my God, yes, I do need games. I do need games for the Switch. So thank you so much, man. Oh my gosh. I think with that, I might get things like Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, Mario Quartz. Oh my God, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Huge shout out, dude. Snaps and claps for JJ in the chat. $250 donation through PayPal. Thank you so much, man. Oh, yes. Now I can buy some games because I was like, I'm going to get the Switch and I'm going to be able to play a bunch of the free games on there. And that's just what everyone wants to hear is, what games you been playing on your Switch? Oh, Fortnite. All the free games. But I knew that obviously family would be sending me, some gifts soon, and a lot of them tend to send like gift cards and such. And I was like, I can use that to buy games, but that's gonna help out a lot, man. So thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate your generosity. Saying, dude, my D-Lab people are sending huge claps over there, including the Joker prison clap. So that's awesome. Thank you, JJ, dude. You're awesome, dude. Jeremy Swig says, please do a flash. Savior of the universe. Tim Nerd says, when are you and Anna doing your latest crossover? Whenever she is ready to do it. I know that she's been through a lot. Rhaegar Targaryen says, slightly off topic, Young Rippa was on a favorite YouTube show of mine called The News and Why It Matters. I knew I liked this guy. He's so awesome. Mirror Jeremy says, one man low council is greater than high. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Bruce, what's the Vector? It's such a great movie. Howard Bentho, the 1980 Flash Gordon movie is vastly inferior to the 1930s Buster Crabbe serials, especially for the first one. The one thing better about the 1980 version is Timothy Dalton as Prince Bear. Oh my God, no. Flash Gordon is an amazing movie. Take that back. Frank says, are you still going to sing tonight to Captain Fatty Pants and Little Miss? Yeah, absolutely. So Captain Fatty Pants and Little Miss, two little wiener dogs. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Captain Fatty Pants and Little Miss. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Larry, love the Valks, absolutely. Super says, oh yes, ridiculous politicians are weaponizing data pushing policy without considering consequences. If man-made climate change is real, Southeast Asia is one that you need to fight. Exactly right, but they don't care about that. They want power, and they know they can't get power over there, so they'll take it over here. Orange Hat Review says, hope you have a wonderful night. Hail Odin Valkers. Thank you, Orange Hat. Tina, thank you so much. I got it. Bruce says, right, the headline was woke heads explode over Islam is right about women protesters. So yeah, seriously. Hyperin says, in Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, those guys in armor that almost caught Frodo and Sam looked like cool mix between Ottoman and samurai soldiers. Wish we got more to see of them. Yeah, I never made those direct connections because in my mind, I just was like, oh, they're awesome. All right, I do need to start skipping some chats because I do need to start... Oh, I'm close to the end, so I won't. Savvy says, Loki for a gift. Look for a gift. I got it. Thank you again, JJ. Sarah Terminator said, do you agree with the claims of Johnny Depp that made him lose Captain Jack Sparrow? Again, we don't know all the information. He was not brought to court. He was not found guilty. So we don't know. And it's not my right to speculate on whether it happened or not. JP Kotrokas says, if you liked Airplane, you'll love Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is an amazing film. I've seen it. It has added benefit of being a Mel Brooks fan. Oh, that film. Great film. Jay Stowe, may the Schwartz be with you. Oh, what a world. Michael Martinez, I'm going to get ready for bed. Have a good night. Good night to you. I'm going to bed myself. Frank says, Freya would let you go to Popeyes in a Chevy PJs. Chevy PJs if you ate a salad just like Disney's Soy Wars did it to a Chewy salad. No. How dare you, Frank? Cia Production says, has time to play Fortnite, but not for destroying his Captain Marvel Blu-ray. It's because I want to do it as best as I can. I'm trying to think of the perfect way to do it. Jeremy Swig says, they can't have power because they don't have Adam's sword. Good night, Mirror Jeremy. And then D-Live people, hold on. Cash Jimmy, thank you for the 3 lemons. K-Man says, dang, youngin', I turned 38 in December. Oh, you're not that much older. Got 50, 40s in the chat. You guys are freaking awesome, man. All right, so before I go, though, let me shout out some people in, let's see. Let me shout out my September patrons real quick. So a huge shout out to my September patrons: Animation Commentator, Baptist702, Brian P., Dion, Edward Coleman, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Entertainment Hacker, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, Heather Haskett, The Hunk and Chunk and Funkin' Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Itcha Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ, Jonathan Jerebeck, Matthew Kadish, Mad Mitch Dunaway, and JJ, thank you so much again for that very generous birthday gift, man. Thank you so much. Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Orange Chat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riv Magos, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lancelato, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, and What an ABC. Thank you for being my patrons, and a huge shout out to my subscribers. Let me pull up my list real quick. Thank you very much, my friends. Thank you, Drunken Welfare Man, Mr. Roy, Simply Box, History Girl Tina B, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, Laura Story, Alice McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Fan Addicts of Film, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, Filmy Professor, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Christian J. Murr, Rolando Scarfullery, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you so much, my friends. Captain Poppyton, thank you for the ice cream. Poppyton, thank you also for the lemon donation. Captain Dean Heiss, thank you for the 2 ice cream donation. And Kaz Jimmy, thank you for the ice cream as well. Super Anime Gamer, you have a good night. Captain Asset, Jeremy has time for the High Council night. He has time for the High Council night, but he quit the High Council, right? Alice McCarthy, God bless you too. So huge shout out to JJ. Thank you so much for the very, very generous $250 for the birthday. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that a lot. And I can't wait to buy some games. I can't wait to get the Switch this weekend. And I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much, man. That means a lot. And also a huge shout out to all the people that donate tonight. We had a lot. So Laura, Orville Nation, Candice Marie, Star Wars for Life. So thank you, Ruthie. Current the Log, Mr. Pete, and Drunk 3PO. And again, Drunk 3PO is one of the greatest people out there. Go support him if you can. He's awesome. He's helping out kids in the world, and that's something that a lot of us, I think, could learn from his example. If you're over on D-Live, stick around. I'm going to do my typical chest fill-up for you guys. And everyone on YouTube, thank you so much. Please drop a like if you can on the way out. Also, if you want to support the channel and you don't have the ability to give financially, if you shop on Amazon or if you like affiliate links, if you like the posters behind me, anything like that, check the links in the description of the video. Anything helps. And again, you don't have to because I do this because it's fun. But obviously, making a little extra is always a good thing too. But it's not the most important thing. Thank you all so much for watching. Huge shout out to Valkyrie. Again, claps for the Valkyrie in the chat for doing such an amazing job. Bruce says, yes, he is in there. K-Man. Oh, coming at the last minute. The K-Man. ZK-Man, one of my subscribers. Thank you for the $20 donation. through Streamlabs, dude. Thank you so much. He says, because I can. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This has been a great stream, guys. Seriously. We still have 164 people watching, even with the High Council starting. That's amazing. So thank you guys so much for sticking around and for supporting the stream and for having my back and for being just great fans. Never stop being fans. Never stop your passion. Never stop being who you are. And never let any of these asshats on Twitter, in real life, those who own Star Wars, etc., take your joy away from you, because that's when it's over. But it's never going to be over for us, because we ourselves, we are the power. We are the ones that can bring the change about. We are the ones. I feel like I could have gone on a much better rant there, but my ADD has now kicked in. But yes, you guys rock. Have a wonderful night. And as always, God bless. I love you guys so freaking much. Thank you.